It's the Center Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal! Yes! Yes!
Yes, this is my favorite part of the game.
Analyzing all of the league matchups week to week.
You can't win!
Get him a body bag! Finish him!
That is a bit above average.
I said this sucks, and basically so do you.
And discussing the boom, bust, and hidden gem players throughout the league.
We ain't found shit!
What the hell is Brett Favre doing here?
I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass.
Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Laces out.
Touchdown!
And here's your host,
Allow myself to introduce myself.
David Harbatkin. Hello and welcome to the Center Fantasy Football Podcast for Week 8 of Season 7. I am your host, David Harbatkin, joined by the Commissioner and Coach of the Hackettstown Hagglers, Mr. Gazelowski.
What's going on, people?
And joining us is the other Hackettstown coach, the coach of the first place Hackettstown Finest. Soon to be nicknamed Booger McFarland, Mr. Manny Friedman.
Hi, nice to be back on the podcast.
Well, that'll come into contact a little bit later in the show. So, of course, we will have an interview later on in the show as the embargo has been lifted. I guess we are able to talk. Does that mean that we can no longer call him Team Voldemort?
I don't think it's appropriate anymore. We did see the man behind the mask.
I know. We get a chance to talk to the coach of the Whalers, Mr. Scott Williams. And then, of course, we'll go over the trades and transactions, the standings, everything else, and the preview next week's games. But let's get started on last week's games. And we might as well start on that game, since we can talk about both of these teams now, as the Hackettstown's Finest move into first place by defeating the Mighty Whalers by a score of 144.08 to 108.42. Led by Allen, the quarterback in Buffalo, 25.28 points. DeAndre Hopkins got 25.60 points. 19.30 from Brown. I never know which one. Which Brown is this one? John Brown?
John Brown, yep.
Okay, there you go. Wow, look, these are good point totals. 25.5 from Eckler, 12.4 from Gurley. Kelsey got 10, 1.6 from Ingram. That's a little bit concerning there. Prater was 7, and 17 from the Jacksonville defense. You really actually know how to pick out your You've been reading some Defensive Digest, I've noticed. The Whalers had 19.52 points, a lot of which was thrown to his opponent's wide receiver. 16.8 to Tyler Lockett, 22.1 from Michael Thomas, only 2.6 from Devin Singletary in his return. I think he'll be better after this. Melvin Gordon fumbling away the game on the goal line with 8.9 points, 5.8 from Ertz, 17.7 from Westbrook, 12 from Tucker. The vaunted Tucker, who is, with those kind of numbers, he is, I could see why he's worth a trade with McCaffrey, and 3 points for the Green Bay defense. In terms of bench blunders, I see quite a few in this game. There is the 24.7 points for Allen Robinson for the Whalers. Although, it's not really that, who would he replace? I guess he would replace Westbrook. There's not much you're going to do there. Royce Freeman, I guess, 16.7 points would have been able to replace one of the running backs, which is, but it doesn't matter. That's not the real bench blunder. There's 2 on the other side of the ball that I see. First of all, 35 points from Edmonds over in Arizona. But wait, 53.76 points for Aaron Rodgers sitting on your bench. You could have set the new record this week, I think, almost.
Absolutely. Well, this game gave me a heart attack because as I see Rodgers throwing for touchdown after touchdown after touchdown while I'm watching Red Zone, and Chase Edmonds, who wasn't even supposed to start the game, David Johnson was listed as the starter So I don't think there's any fantasy league in the country where someone started Chase Edmonds, unless there's like a 16-team league somewhere. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys seen, but Matthew Berry, he went absolutely crazy on the Cardinals because he had Chase Edmonds on his team, and he benched him too. And he was like, the Cardinals put on like a scam because they didn't list Edmonds as their starter. So it was actually a pretty entertaining clip.
I'll have to watch it. I haven't watched him in a few weeks.
Yeah, so this game, I mean, because if I lost this game and I could see that 2 players on my bench outscored like 3 teams this week. As
one of them, I feel. Is that like a dig, Booger?
Slightly. So, I mean, it would have been extremely disappointing if I lost this game. But, I like the performance of my starters as well. It's a pretty balanced effort to say, I'm looking for 10 plus from each guy. And they gave me that. I decided to start Allen this week because, obviously they're playing Miami. And I get the 2-1 with John Brown. Hopkins finally gave me a good performance. The Eckler-Melvin Gordon thing, I had it again in this matchup, so that gave me a nervous breakdown as well. Because I had that a couple weeks ago.
I think was it last week?
Did you have it? It was 2 weeks ago when I played
the Blues.
The Blues, right?
Wow. So, wow, yeah, you've had that same matchup twice now.
Twice already, yeah.
And you've actually come out on the right side of it, so it's not not bad.
Yeah. I think Eckler is a better pass catcher, and I think that helps him. And I was thrilled to see the fumble at the 1-yard line.
I'm sure you were
against Tennessee, because I don't think that gives the coaches confidence in playing him. And Kelsey has again been a disappointment. I was expecting more, and especially after the Thursday night game, I wasn't very thrilled with that. Ingram, quite disappointing. Prater, I've looked. He's had a very high success rate in 50-yard field goals. So that's why I decided to pick him up. And anyone playing Cincinnati is worth starting. So that was my reasoning against starting the Jacksonville defense. Nothing else besides that. So.
So as we were talking about earlier, our league is definitely it frowns upon first-year coaches coming in and having success right away. So expect a little bit of an eye turn towards the Hackettstown finest now.
That's fine. I'm ready for it.
You better be, because you've caught some people's attention now at 6-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. This new team coming out of nowhere with a 6-1 record, highfalutin. So you gotta watch out for this team. You're not going to sneak up on anybody anymore, Manny. You know that.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, I like where my team is at right now. I've been kind of very lucky with the injury bug, knock on wood. But I can't complain. I really can't. And I know you guys are all ultra competitive. It's a very difficult league to have success in. So
you got to take it one game at a time. Just
one game at a time.
Gotta. Any given
I'm gonna enjoy this record, and I hope it continues.
So, do you still think that does this? What have you been saying about the Whalers? That he's just been a product of his schedule. Do you think that this?
I've had some tough games. I've played both of you guys who are in the top 6. I did play Zamunda once, so that takes, and Dave's Secret Crush. So I guess that. Scratches some of the strength of schedule out. I played the.
You
Blues.
did play Nick and Jamie.
I did, yes.
What happened in that game?
I have played 4 of the top 6 teams in the league, so I can't say my strength of schedule is that low.
No, I actually think that you have had a good strength of schedule, and I think that you have a good team. as far as the Whalers go, I still think that he's a good team. I mean, this is just. I think he has some problems at running back, which he certainly, at least addressed in getting Gordon. Whether or not it pans out, I don't know. I think it was a steal the way that he got him.
Yeah.
Look, I also think that Singletary, if he's back and starts playing like he was at the beginning of the season, and that he might. I mean, he has legitimate wide receivers. I think that he has a good quarterback who's been Watson has not been performing to the levels that he was a couple years ago, but I still think that he's a good quarterback. I mean, Ertz is a quality tight end despite the past 2 weeks. Obviously, we know Justin Tucker is an all-star and one of the greatest players in the league based on the offer for McCaffrey. And D.D. Westbrook, he's, D.D. Westbrook. And Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson continues to be good. And then he has a lot of bench spots too. He's got McCoy, he's got Freeman. I think this is a very deep team.
Definitely. I agree.
I
was worried about this game. It was a pick 'em going into it, and he does have a good team. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I just think that this is I don't consider this a coaching anything. I just think that this was a good week for him, and I think that your team happens to match up well with him just because his quarterback is Deshaun Watson and you have DeAndre Hopkins. So I mean, those kind of matchups really. Sometimes favor the person with the receiver. So,
right. I mean, this game was in the balance. It was very close until Eckler had that 40-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
So, and if that touchdown went to Gordon, I mean, I may have been in trouble. So there are a few swing plays that changed this game, but it was close throughout.
True, and a 14-point swing, or differential between the two defenses. I mean, that makes a big difference. This could have gone either way. I don't think the scoreboard necessarily reflects it. I mean, it could have also been a massive blowout had Rodgers been in there, but
right.
I still don't. I know the tendency is, almost to forget about teams. I mean, look at what happened to the Blues after he was in first place, and then he got beaten out. I don't even think that we're going to even recognize him as a team. He's going to be like pond scum after this. I don't think you could do that with the Whalers. I think his record is phenomenal. I think that his team is very dangerous. I think that he actually might get away with more now that he doesn't have the target on his back of being in first place, and I think that he might be more dangerous because of it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah, because he's a good team. He's a good coach. He's good on the waiver wires, and he's just a smart coach. And I'm not just saying that because he's listed the embargo. I actually agree. I believe that. And that's
the coach of the week doesn't get any preferential treatment.
No. Trust me, I'm more than happy to slap anyone down, including myself, which I can do now if you'd like. Because
so, do you think my team kind of resembles my record? Do you think is there a team in the league that you guys fear a little bit more than mine, or you think I do have the strongest team in the league as we speak right now?
I don't think that it's a very strong league.
Okay. Strong league.
I don't, including my team. I just don't think that any of these teams scare me. I just, on a given week. But I do think that yours is one of the better ones. Longevity-wise, I don't know. Is Eckler going to continue these numbers? I don't know. There's still that question mark hanging over there. You got Edmonds, but I mean, how long is he going to stay in there? Right. I mean, you do have Chubb, who has been good and can replace that. I mean, look, I don't look at your team and go top to bottom like, whoa, that's, like I said, or like I might say in the future of this podcast. You look back on it like a Shauna's team, which you weren't here for that, but she was just dominant from go. I don't even remember who was on that team, but there was just she was just a dominant team, and wow. When you faced her that season, you felt like you had to be like the lucky. You would have to get lucky just to beat her. I don't look at it. This. I think like this year, which is what makes it so exciting. I think that I'm not really surprised. Like even in the biggest upsets of this year, I don't think that they're that big. Like I don't think like look, I'm thrilled beyond belief that Eugene's team is as horrid as they are in record. But you look at their team, they're not that bad a team. I mean, they continue to put up points. I mean, they're a dangerous team. So, do I want to play your team on a week? No, I would rather play Zamunda or Nick and Jamie. Like if you gave me a choice, like there's certain teams that I would absolutely rather play.
Because I've heard in the conference call that I've heard from Geza that in your conference calls you've been like, this new guy is.
That's what
I'm not really liking him that much anymore.
Well, like I said before, nobody likes to see the new guy come in and have any success right away. You got to take your comeuppance.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely true. Nobody wants to see. Well, first of all, nobody likes to see anybody else successful in this league. I mean, I guess there's like. There's alliances and stuff. I mean, but like the United States likes Britain, but we're gonna try to kick their gymnastic team's ass in the Olympics or whatever else they have there in their sports. But if our team got eliminated, I guess we'd root for them. Sure. I certainly will say that. I feel like if it was, I mean, it also depends on who you would play later on in the season, for like whether or not there could be a rooting interest. I don't, but I certainly don't want to see you win a championship in the first year. That would be disgusting. The amount of ego that would go into your head. Oh my God, it would be like Eugene level ego. You'd think that you came in here and this guy and these people are eating. No. Hell no. I might even I think if it came down to like a Whalers I might even root for the Whalers just because I don't want you to have that kind of ego. And that's saying a lot.
So Dave, how long you been in? Like you've been in what 20 plus seasons, and Manny just rolls in his first season and wins the championship. No.
Yeah, I don't think. I think 20 years. I've been waiting to win a championship in the center for 20 years. If somebody came in their first year, like, I mean, it's insulting enough that Eugene came in and won the championship in the second year of fantasy football. I mean, but he has at least 20 plus years of history with the org to just come in. I mean, that's almost like Gaten Casimir level Center Bowl stuff where you just come in and you dominate us. Which I'm happy to see him getting. I'm happy to see him have some success, but I'm also happy to see him get some comeuppance in some center competition, and he can't just dominate us like he did. But if you just come in here in your first year of anything center related and you win the whole thing, oh my God, that'll be disgusting. No, nobody wants that. I could poll this entire league, and they may like you, they may think that you're great on the podcast, but nobody wants you to win. Nobody, not this year at least. Not a single person.
You got to prove you're the best team in Hackettstown first, let alone the league. All right, buddy.
Okay, all right.
We have our own Hackettstown rivalry first.
Right now, I am the best team in Hackettstown.
See how the ego's already coming in now. See, this is why nobody wants it.
The ego is growing by the minute.
Yeah, this is why nobody wants that. I speak on behalf of the league, top to bottom. Nobody wants to see somebody come. Yeah, because these people have been fighting. Some people in this league have not, like Nick too. He's been in since '97. He's never won a championship. He almost cagged his way to a championship and then lost in triple overtime to a Matt Sundin goal in the 8th semi-cup finals. And that's as close as he got. But trust me, he will not be happy to see somebody just walk into a center league and win the whole thing. No, nobody wants that.
Okay. Well, you are one of the teams I played twice, so...
I'm well aware. And I wish I was playing Zamunda. That second time. But it's not to be.
Me too, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I think everybody wants to play Zamunda.
Yeah.
Except for who did they get their win against? Nick and Jamie? I think, is that who they got? Yeah. Week 2, didn't they get their win against Nick and Jamie, which just shows how...
Nick and Jamie is the only team that beat me.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that would happen again if you play them again. Do you play them again?
Well,
I hope so.
I don't know. Yeah. Who'd you play week 1?
I played Nick and Jamie week 1.
Oh, yeah, so you get another easy one. You might have the ease of schedule this year. 2 Nick and Jamie games. Give me a break. All right.
I mean,
No, I do play
Nick beat Nick and
Jamie
Jamie,
twice.
right?
Oh,
Nick
I do,
beat Nick
yeah.
and Jamie.
Okay.
Nick and Jamie play, I think, Eugene this upcoming week. So it's like the Three Stooges slapping each other. the 1-6 teams beating up on each other.
Which one's Mo? I guess Eugene has Mo than the rest of them. Anyway, all right. Although Nick, actually, ironically, out of the three Musketeers down there at the bottom, the only one that doesn't have a championship out of them is Zamunda. The other two actually have championships. All right, so let's move on to one of those three Amigos teams and mine in a pathetic. Oh my God, this was a pathetic matchup. The 1603ers survived against Nick and Jamie, 92.02 to 77.24. God, I think that I got my matchup rating. It was like C- to his D-. First of all, I didn't even know who wanted to finish this game. It seemed like everybody was going. It was like a Wakanda game. So Lamar Jackson got 23.32 points. Cole Beasley got 10.60, and that's with a touchdown against Miami. Will Fuller decided he was Will Lesser with 1.60 points and a hamstring injury. Carrion Johnson carried himself onto IR with 2.30 points. Breda decided to get a concussion and finish with 4.60 points. And then Waller decided to show up, one of the two players on this team that saved my ass, with 31.60 points, and Golden Tate got 14.0 points. And then, so this happened. So Thursday night, it all started out with McManus, the backup kicker that I picked up. I checked into the score. I didn't watch the game. I checked into the score at the end, and I was like, the Broncos had 6 points, and yet their kicker got none. He should have 6 at least, even if it was shitty field goal. Like, I was like, what the hell happened there? Did I get an injured kicker? What went on here? No, it turns out he just missed the extra point, which is how terrible he is. I literally should have just saved the spot on the roster. I don't know why I picked up that jabroni. He's been kicked to the curb. Tennessee got 4 points. For the garbage barge, 9.84 for Wentz, 3.10 for Galladay, 5.80 points for Alshon Jeffrey, 4.5 for Devontae Freeman, who got kicked out of the game, 8.6 for Mack, 0 for Waller, and then finally somebody gets double digits with T.Y. Hilton getting 19.40, and 13 points from Lambeau and 13 from the Arizona defense. So he waited till those last players to actually crack into the double digits to get to 77 points. This was a pathetic game. Thank God I was playing Nick and Jamie. I should have lost.
Yeah, that was not your finest hour, but again, playing the garbage barge.
It's actually a big win for you, considering McCaffrey was on a bye week.
No, I agree. And considering half my team decided to be on a bye week by getting injured mid-game. And by the way, no, I mean, this honestly is like a Wakanda score. 8.5 points on the bench total. and mind you, I did pick up Sam Darnold for like right before the Monday night game, and then I dropped him in the fourth quarter. But actually, if you would have taken the total score of my bench, deducting, I believe, the -4 points that he finished with, the man finished with -4. I think I would have actually finished with 4 points on the bench total. It was absolutely pathetic. Now, granted, they sat Derrick Henry, yet played Waller. Walker, excuse me, who didn't play. Interesting. Who had 17.8 points and would have won in the game. So, I mean, I guess the captain of the ship was a little bit drunk and, add some bad coaching to the bad everything else on this team, and we'll take it.
Yeah, well, that's mid-season bye weeks are nice when you're playing the garbage barge, and now you got the Clawless Lions up next, so you have a double bye.
That's true. I am playing the Zamunda House Kittens, which is nice. Although I will say historically, the 1603ers do have a habit of losing to teams like this. So, I will take the win.
You should be all right.
All right. Somebody go on to speakerphone. Okay.
I'm getting a little bit of an echo.
Yeah, I was getting an echo too, but I think it's better now.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right. So moving on to the next game. Where do we want to go now? Now that we've taken a trip on the Lost Boat.
The Lost Boat. Yes. Where would you
Let's
like
get the Hackettstown Hagglers against the Zamunda Lions. Let's go to that game. The snooze fest that was.
Yeah, let's go to the Haskins.
Yes, the bye week.
The blowout of the week actually.
Oh boy.
It was. Congratulations. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we started off here with, first of all, I expected a much bigger game out of Tyreek Hill. That Mahomes injury, besides affecting Lombardi, definitely affected Hill. As you can see, he only had 3 catches, I think, but that was enough. You know, he's so explosive. But there's some concerns moving forward with Mahomes being out. Le'Veon Bell in that atrocious Jets game. That was a gift of 8 points. That was a horrific nightmare. But then again, you are playing the Zamunda Lions, so Prescott, what you gifted him, was a third of his points at 23. He has Audwin Tate, the receiver from Cincinnati. So nice job, Dr. Hockey, making the receiving cores of the Bengals to help your buddy out. Who this Lazard guy is, I mean, this is just – I had to take a picture of this lineup because this is like – I explained to them, like, remember those Sega games and those Nintendo games where they didn't have the licensing rights and you had to play A. Lazard – A. Tate, B. Bolden, instead of like Ricky Henderson and Don Mattingly. Like this lineup, I've never seen anything like it. This was atrocious. Led by Fairbairn, the kicker, charging into battle. I mean, was there any chance for a victory? I mean, I don't know if the lineup gets any better next week. I mean, I don't know how long Kamara is out. This was
Brandon Bolden.
Yeah, Bolden.
Only 3% owns him in all of Yahoo Fantasy drafts.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Nick got shafted on that one late with the Kamara news that he had a high ankle sprain, but I mean, the Zamunda Lions, I don't even know what to say. Nicky baby, that was a rough one. Yeah, this was just.
And 0 points on the bench.
Yeah, literally 0 points on the bench. I don't know.
Wow.
Well, now you get him this week, Dave. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Gronk will finally make his return.
Oh yeah, he's got Gronk.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, Stafford played well for you in terms of numbers, 37 points. What's going on with Larry Fitzgerald there? That's got to be a little concerning with the 2.20 playing against the G-Men.
Yeah, I watched that whole entire game. Murray he's Russell Wilson Jr. He just doesn't see what he likes and just takes off with it despite people who are wide open, which is usually his safety valve, Larry Fitzgerald, but he hasn't been thrown to a lot this season. But then again, you throw him away in the dumpster and he goes for 40 points the next week, so I don't know what to do with this guy.
And like you mentioned with the Mahomes injury, I mean, Tyreek Hill, what happens there? I mean, are you starting to get worried about your receiving core now?
I don't know if worried is the word. Like, we're just a flush your team down the toilet week in and week out regardless, so we don't really worry about anybody. Unless clogging up the toilet bowls are only worry. We use 2,000 flushes, so we're okay most of the time. Yeah, I don't really care about my roster per se. We'll find someone in the dumpster if need be. With our $0 free agency budget, by the way. A Hagler trademark.
Yeah, Williams was a good pickup though. I mean, he's a decent RB2 now. And then you're running the jumbo package, the 2 tight ends and
Dr. Hockey, he's the originator of that package.
I know, Hooper and Henry, but they seem to be doing really well.
Yeah, he's my Evans and Godwin. I don't know who to play. I'll just play them both.
There you go. That's what you should. That's what some teams might have benefited from actually doing. Yeah, and as far as Zamunda, is this the worst team? I mean, not only is this the worst team this season, is this the worst team that you've ever seen?
I have to say that when I picked the Hagler team out of the dumpster, it was laughable during that championship game. This is no laughing matter. This is clearly the worst team in the history of fantasy football. I almost have to tip my hand to Nick to cobble this together. I don't know. It took some thought, actually. He didn't just whip this up at the last minute. He handpicked these losers. So I've never seen anything like this before.
I think it might be time to get Nick on the program. I just want to know what's going on here. I mean, I don't know. I think, maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll try to get Nick and Jamie and Nikki maybe on the program, because I'm curious about their mindsets. And I'm really curious to just pick Nick's brain about what he's thinking. Because he clearly is. He's making moves. He's trying. This is his effort.
Yes.
This is him trying.
Yes.
All I can say is my condolences.
Yeah.
And congratulations to the Lizards for making the CFFL. As well as Bolden. Bold move. You finally get a chance to play in the pros here. All right. Where should we go to next? We've kind of covered the, what was clearly the matchup of the week, and two that were clearly not even watched by the teams that were in them games. So where should we move to now?
Let's see. Where should we go now? Is there any story?
I mean, there's two exciting there were two exciting games. And then there were three exciting games, to be honest with you, left. So which of these three exciting games do you want to go to?
Oh, there are three. All right, let's go with Lombardi's game.
All right, the closest game of the week. This was an exciting game. So the St. Louis Blues defeat the Tillit-Trey team 92.84 to 91.36, a differential of only 1 point. Math, I don't want to do it, but like a 1.5-ish, something like that. It's like, no, 1.48, right? Is that math? I don't know, whatever, you can do it. Anyway, so Mahomes, before he got injured, got 9.24 points, 10.10 from Keenan Allen, 7.3 for Metcalf, Aaron Jones with 18.30 points, Coleman with 8.1, Andrews with 5.9, Cooks with 9.9, Bryant with 6, and then 18 from the Baltimore defense. They finally showed up in that game against Seattle. For Tillit-Trey, they got 6.96 from Murray. You called him like Russell Wilson, where he just wants to be a hero. Well, that's not much of a hero. It's 6.96 points. Did he not throw any touchdowns? Because that's brutal. All right, 15.3 points from Julio Jones. Only 2.1 from McLaurin after a really hot start. He's seems to have cooled down slightly, down to almost freezing there, even freezing in Celsius. 0.20 points from David Johnson. Oh, so he did play. Look at that. Then Fournette with 16.50 points, 15 from Everett, the tight end in the Rams, which is actually a good pickup. He had that 2 weeks ago. I was looking into him, but he outbid me on that, or at least I don't even know if I put in a bid. If you can go back and check the records, but I wanted to. And then Chark with 10.3, 15 from Zerline, who continues to be one of the best kickers in the league, and 10 from the Buffalo defense. The David Johnson thing really hurt him. I guess. Had he played Frank Gore, he would have won. Had he played San Francisco, had he played anybody on his bench other than Antonio Brown or Herndon, he would have won. But that's what happens in a 1-point game. You can't, of course, you can't account for Mahomes going down. So, the Blues will, I don't know if he could rectify it to the level that was Mahomes in the past. We'll see when he comes back. But, really just a really good game in terms of points. I don't know what to think about both of these teams. They're both good, but like, I don't know. It's interesting. There's glaring weaknesses.
Definitely.
And really
So the loser of this game is on a 3-game slide. So basically, right? So is that right, man? Maybe. 4-3. Well, you're heading in the wrong direction, even if you're not on a 3-game slide. So one loss, and now you're at 500, and you're really in the middle of the pack. There's some really good teams that are 3-4, so you don't want to put yourself in that situation. I think Lombardi, this was a big win for him by a point to get him into that 5-2 bracket, because now 2 wins and he's in. Where Tillich's got a much tougher road ahead of him. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, this was a game where both of these teams needed a win, and and the Blues got it. So hats off to him. I mean, like, look, don't get me wrong. I don't think that Tillett is in any danger of anything right now. I still think that he's one of the better teams. But I mean, this is a bad loss. I mean, and when we talked with him earlier in the season, I mean, he just finds himself in these games. He said he liked them too. He liked the excitement of them, and he certainly had it. So, but
let's look at Mahomes' injury a little closer. So he's out probably at least 3 weeks. Well, what do you think impact-wise this has on the Blues? Because he's put up some massive points for St. Louis.
Yeah,
he's consistent.
I think it hurts him.
I mean, 18 points was the previous low for Mahomes. Up until that point, every single game, the lowest that he had thrown for was 273. But see, he still got 25 points out of that game. And now, what's in the quarterback market in the dumpster? You think there's any half-eaten bologna sandwiches that can still be salvaged by the Blues?
I do, but I think it's really very opponent dependent. I don't think that any of those backup quarterbacks are very consistent. But I do think that they all could have. They all have the potential for a good game. So he's going to have to get to work on streaming like the quarterbacks. And I think that if he does, he could do well. But I mean, I think that's why this win is even. I mean, I think the win was more important for Lombardi because with Mahomes going down, I think that if he would have lost here and then he loses Mahomes, it just becomes more and more devastating. Like it could have been really catastrophic. Now he at least gets this one out of the way, gets the win, and maybe can right the ship. And then get Mahomes back, come playoff time if he needs him. But, I mean, fantastic game. I mean, in terms of just implications and everything else, what a fantastic game.
If this was a playoff game, this would have been one for the ages.
Yeah. And honestly, I think if the playoffs started now, they would play each other in a rematch.
Ooh. That'd be nice. All right.
Are you not even paying attention to these games anymore now that you're in first, or are you gonna weigh in at all? Are these two below you?
I am listening. No, this was a fantastic game. It was very close. Came down to 1 point. It was interesting also to look at who they had on the bench and who they could have plugged in to make it a little more comfortable. But it was just close overall.
Agreed.
Yeah, thanks, Booger. All right, moving on to the...
Ladies and gentlemen, the new 3-man booth lineup this season was Booger McFarland.
All right, moving on to the next game. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go to Memphis or you want to go to Wakanda?
Whew. Oh, yeah, well, let's save Wakanda for last because that's extra special. But almost equally as satisfying for me, Lightning Rod's got some comeuppance this week because we were both tied at 3-3.
Yeah, this was a big game for the Hagglers. As the Memphis Monkeys defeat the Lightning Rods 119.16 to 115.44. Yeah, so first of all, the Monkeys had Matt Ryan go down 3.56 points before he did, but then Marvin Jones Jr. playing like Marvin Jones Sr. with 43.30 points. Mohamed Sanu with only 1.3, but now he's going to be a Patriot. Dalvin Cook with 27.9 points. 12.9 for James White. 4.2 for Knox. Get him a grant. Or a grand. Is it a grant or a grant? Which do you want in Batman?
It's get him a grant.
With a T or a D?
A grant.
Like 1,000?
Yeah. No, not a grand. A grant. Grant.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. Get Knox a grant. 4.2 points. 17 for Barkley, 6 for Crosby, and 3 for the Los Angeles Chargers defense. For the Lightning Rod, 17.34 points from Russell Wilson, 13.60 for Woods, Diggs with 21.20 points after Thielen went down. Elliott, 26.7 points, 4.2 from Lindsey. Font, once again, playing the lowercase font for 1.7 points. 13.7 for Edelman, 12 for Butker. Chicago with 5 points. Really interesting. I mean, just first of all, had he played Ebron with the 17, he would have won this instead of Font. I don't know. I mean, he's committed to that font. Comic Sans, it looks like more like anything else. But no, this game came down to the Monday night game. It was so the Monkeys had about a 6-point lead going into that. And the Monkeys had James White going, and the Lightning Rods had Edelman. So it just came up to a matchup between the two of them. Edelman was winning the first half of the game. In fact, I got a text from the Monkeys saying, "Oh, well, it looks like I lost." He was unhappy, and I said, "Well, the second. I mean, it was a blowout game." And I said, "Well, White might get some touches in the second half," and he did, and he got just enough to put him over the top. But really good win for the Monkeys. I mean, the way that he's turned this team around since the Millennials, since he took over for the Millennials, has been really impressive. I think you look at his lineup. This is a lineup that is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, the Matt Ryan injury hurts him. I mean, I guess he could go with Jameis Winston for now because he does have a backup quarterback. But, I mean, you look at his running backs. I mean, this guy has Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, and James White. I mean, I don't think there's a better running back trio in this league.
Agreed.
If Marvin Jones Jr. is going to be putting up points like that, that's trouble. Sanu going over to New England. He might get some points there.
He actually has a pretty good team.
I know.
Yes.
And look, had he lost this game, I think that he finds himself in a situation that I think a lot of other teams, or one other team that we're about to talk about, finds himself in with actually not that terrible a team, but with a record that's just hard to overcome. But he gets the win, so he doesn't find him. I mean, look, his record is an obstacle, but it can be overcome with
with his running back core, with Sanu now on the Patriots, with Marvin Jones having the potential to go off, Valdez-Scantling with Rodgers catching a groove, Smith-Schuster there. I mean, this is not a team I would like to play in the first round of the playoffs.
And look, I got news for you. His upcoming schedule. He plays Wakanda next week. Then he's got Nick and Jamie, and then he's got Zamunda. So I know. So he's got this team, and then he's looking. I mean, the Wakanda game could be difficult. I don't know, but the Nick and Jamie and Zamunda games. I mean, you could almost. I mean, just add 3 more wins. He's 6-4. I mean, this is a legitimate playoff contender. And if this team gets in the playoffs, I mean, I don't know if that's a lineup that I want to face.
Yeah, those 3 running backs, nobody wants to mess with that backfield.
I know. So I think that this we'll talk about it later on in the show, but this game with Wakanda is a huge game as to whether, I mean, and for both of them, honestly, they have the same record. I mean, I think that is by far the matchup of the week this week, but we can get to that later. But yeah, huge win for them. They drag the Lightning Rods down to their level, and now it really creates a battle between those teams. And frankly, they may be in, just based on the strength of their schedule going forward.
Yes.
That's a dangerous team. I would be concerned about the Monkeys.
I got to clap it up for the Monkeys this week. That was big because, the rivalry that Gaten Kazman was just recently made aware of a few short weeks ago is back on. So we were both tied at 3-3. So obviously I had the bye week. He had a much tougher matchup, so I give him a 1 lead. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on this game before we move to the last game of the season? Or,
Nope.
sorry, of the week. Perhaps for the season for one of these teams. All right, the Wakanda Panthers defeat Deep Secret Crush, 129.62 to 114.58. A win that is satisfying for so many across the league.
Now, I got to tell you something. It seems like Eugene finds a new way to lose every single week. It's pretty impressive. Like, this one he had in the bag going into the Monday night game for the most part. And,
I know.
Come on.
And by the way, the Evans Godwin decision was taken out of his hands in this one because they were on a bye. Let's start with Dave's Secret Crush. So Kirk Cousins had 37.18 points, 9.5 from Thielen. He made that touchdown catch and then was injured and then didn't return. Amari Cooper with 15.6 points, 10.4 for Chris Carson, 6.2 for Sanders, 7.3 for Witten, 16.4 for Jacobs, who he likes, 10 for Myers, and 2 for the Minnesota defense. For the Wakanda Panthers, Danny Dimes threw 1 dime and 3 pennies, 13.42 points. Cooper Kupp got 11 points. Not playing at the Monkeys level, but still decent. Double digits at least. Slayton, okay, 4.8 points. Is he roommates with Lazard? On Tecmo Bowl, or is that Bobby Slayton, the pit bull of comedy? Mark Ingram with 6.3 points. Sony Michel, actually the one that you would think in the trade. So he got, what happened in that trade? It was Saquon for Cup, and wasn't Michel included in the deal?
I think it was.
Yeah, so I mean, who would have thought that Michelle would have been the one that was the better out of those two? Fells got 4.2 points or 4.7 points, 32 from Latavius Murray, 10 from Gonzalez, the kicker, and the consistently uninjured only player that's not injured, best player on the Wakanda Panthers gets 25 point for the New England defense. Yeah, I mean, going into the last game of the week, it looked like Eugene had this game, but you can never count out the Panthers when the New England defense is still going, and you add to that Sony Michel score, and he came back to win.
Hey, if Eugene was watching that Monday night game, he must have just watched it slip away quarter by quarter. Turnover after turnover after turnover in the red zone. I mean, Dr. Hockey, that was an impressive late win. I will not doubt the New England defense at all. They are for morale. When they're playing these kind of losers every week, my God.
Yeah, but if you want to talk about a weak strength of schedule, just talk about New England's schedule. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How weak it's been.
Mm-hmm. Which has allowed them to put up some massive points.
I mean, it's unbelievable. They're probably the top scoring player in the league. I mean, it's crazy looking at their scores. Insane.
I think they're averaging over 21 points a week.
It's crazy. It really is.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But let's see if they can keep this up when they actually play some real teams.
So overall, though, let's look at some. Let's analyze. Where does this put the champ? I mean, he has got to be on the ropes now. I mean,
I know.
What do we say? 7 losses and you're essentially out. in this ultra competitive league. I mean, maybe even 6 at this point. We got a lot of good teams out there.
Yeah, there is. I mean, so first of all, I did get a text from Odwin at 10:45 Eastern. Boom, down goes Eugene. So he's been calling me since even today he called me in the middle of work just to smile about how happy he was about this win. Hockey is I tried to get him on the program, but I think he fell asleep. He is very satisfied with this win. This might be the kind of thing that changes the momentum around him. I've not heard a coach this happy in a long time. And maybe it's the injuries, maybe maybe the fact that he finally went a week without some devastating injury helps his psyche. I don't know.
Wow. But anyway, for Eugene, I mean, needless to say, I mean, they got a big matchup this week against Nick and Jamie. I mean, the loser of that game is over. It's fitting one Three Musketeer knocks out the other.
Yeah, I know. I mean, so nobody's. I mean, seven in a good year beats. Like that eliminates you. I mean, we've always said that seven. I mean, it doesn't mathematically. Any of these teams mathematically could still make the playoffs theoretically, but 7 for all intents and purposes would eliminate. I mean, it always has. 7 has been the cutoff. And I can't imagine it not being this year. So whoever loses that, I mean, and the thing for Dave Secret Crush is, it's kind of like you said at the outset. He finds a new way to lose every week. I mean, this is really impressive. And his team is not that atrocious. The one thing that I will say is, now that Thielen is gone, maybe he finally will play both Evans and Godwin at this point, which might salvage his season. I mean, he needed to win it. I mean, so this is, I mean, how many weeks in a row has it been games that you're like, if he just gets this, then he plays this game. If he just gets this, then he can't. He's no longer I can't imagine him being a threat at this point.
No. He can play spoiler, though, down the stretch.
Oh, yeah, and I think he would relish doing that. I'm not saying that he wouldn't, but I think, well, all right, out of the 3 Musketeers down at the bottom, the 3 Musketeers floating around in a pool like in Caddyshack. Which of the 3 teams do you think is the best? Which of those 3 do you think is the worst?
Well, I think they're like a melted 3 Musketeers at the bottom of somebody's sneaker. It's the picture I'm showing. Like a 3 Musketeers bar that's been left out in the sun. That was great in the wrapper at the manufacturer when they made the bar, but somebody just left it out, and then somebody stepped on it. Of those 3,
I just view it. You remember that scene in Caddyshack where there's the candy bar floating in the pool, and everybody thought it was a shit. They just looked at it and automatically just thought it was a shit. That's the kind of 3 Musketeers that I'm picturing. Just this floating pile of shit in a pool. How do you see them, Manny?
Exactly how you described them. I do think Eugene's team is the best, though, of the 3. I think he has the best potential to play spoiler amongst the 3 teams, by far.
Yeah, I think Zamunda is the worst.
Well, let's look at something interesting. So Eugene's lost 4, so he's lost for the last month. The Zamunda Lions have lost for the last month and a week, so they haven't won since almost summer. And then Nick and Jamie, I mean, these guys haven't tasted a win this fall. Between the 3 of them, it's been quite some time.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, if you look at it, so Dave Secret Crush has a 4-game losing streak, Zamunda has a 5-game losing streak, and Nick and Jamie has a 6-game losing streak.
So 4-game losing, so that's the last 4 weeks. So that puts his win 5 weeks ago, right? Pretty much. So that takes us into mid-September.
Well, yeah, but Nick and Jamie haven't won since the first week. Since the week where we called
Yeah.
since the week that we called them the garbage barge, and then we had to like call them a cruise ship, and then we went back to them being a garbage barge since then. Six weeks ago, they haven't won since the first week. That means Zamunda won in the second week and Eugene won in the third week.
I mean, give me credit, these teams will be out before they even carve up the first drumstick.
Mind you, the next longest losing streak besides those three is one. One loss in a row.
One loss, right. But eventually that has to come to an end because two of them play each other.
Yeah, I know.
So the sweet taste of victory. Who's back in somebody's mouth to rinse out the turd that they're chewing on. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, I don't think it's going to be those Zamunda Lions as they play the 209.1603 juggernaut. That's not going to end well. But a chance for either the champ or the garbage barge to duke it out in the corner where literally nobody's watching. And wrestle away that half-eaten bologna sandwich for the second week. The last half-eaten cheeseburger in the dumpster, somebody's got to get it. So, who do you like in that? We'll have to get to that one. I can't wait.
We'll get to that after the break.
I can't wait.
But I know.
Nick and Jamie still holding on to that vaunted Arizona defense.
Yeah.
I mean, ride them until the sunset.
Right.
No, I mean,
I think a lot of these teams are focused on the Trey game right now.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, Eugene's record, I mean, could have been better had it not been for some suspect coaching moves. I mean, the Tampa Bay receivers. Most weeks he just hasn't played the right one. I mean, he's left a lot of points on the bench.
I know, but even still, I mean, there's been weeks where he's gotten, one. I mean, like the week that he played the Lightning Rods and had like 156, and the Lightning Rods got 170. I mean,
right.
he's been a victim of the schedule. He's been a victim of Mike Evans. I mean, as a former coach of Mike Evans, you certainly are familiar with that, Keys.
Yes.
The ruiner of season. This might be 2 seasons that he's ruined for people. And look, for Wakanda, this was a huge win. I mean, like, he was on, like, we talk about this now, but he was on the verge of losing, having near, I mean, he would have been 2-4. He would have had the same record as Eugene.
Yeah.
He was one Monday night game away from having the same record as Eugene.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
So I can understand why he's happy about this win. And if he could
put a fork in camp, I mean, is he pretty much written off, or is he like Rasputin? You just can't kill him.
Well, if he loses next week, he's dead. I'll tell you that. I mean, look, he still has. I think he has Nick and Jamie. Then he has Zamunda. But I mean, all right. Look, I mean, if you're at 6 losses I mean, he's got no margin for. I mean, somebody's got to be able to. I mean, is this team gonna run the table? I don't think so.
We're going to be doing something under the table, but it's not. For food.
Yeah. No, I think he's done.
But he is still the best of the worst, right? You do rank him ahead of Zamunda and the garbage barge?
Oh, by far.
Absolutely.
Head and shoulders at the top of the dumpster?
He does have more points than the Memphis Monkeys. He has more points than the Hagglers. He has more points than the Blues. I mean, so he's been scoring. I think he's really been unlucky.
I mean, if this was college football where you vote for the winners or whatever crap they do over there and that thing that I don't even watch, then yeah, I mean, you vote for Eugene's team to be higher up than he is. I mean, you vote. If you took the coaches poll, Zamunda is down at the bottom. But Eugene's, you don't put anywhere near at the bottom. He's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, he's somewhere.
Yeah.
And he would be a team, they're not going to make the playoffs, but he would be a team that if they got to the playoffs, you'd be fearful of it. You'd worry about it for that week. If you played Zamunda in the playoffs, you'd be like, well, I'm moving on to the next round. Looks like somebody else got a bye too, not just the first place. Kind of the same with Nick and Jamie. Eugene's the only team that I think can go out and I'm not just saying this as somebody who actually lost them, the only person that lost them. Maybe I'm just justifying my own loss, even though I don't think I am. I think that they are legitimately an okay team. I mean, they have Cooper. They had Thielen, who was good. I mean, Kirk Cousins keeps throwing points. They still have Evans and Godwin. Chris Carson is decent. I mean, all right, they don't have an RB2. Although Jacobs, so, they don't have really that great a tight end, and they don't have maybe a flex player then with Thielen out. But you can even put in Sutton. This is not a bad team on paper.
No.
This is no Lazard. I mean, I look at the paper that Wakanda is written on, and I go, wow, that is a shitty team, actually. But he's just trying to survive. He's in survival mode. He cut off his extremities, just, like in, what was that movie with James Franco? He cut off his arms to just escape the mountain, whatever he's doing here. And maybe he can put something together, excuse me. But, I don't know. Let me ask you this. Which of these two teams do you think is better?
Which of what? These
Wakanda
two
or Dave Secret Crush? I'm not even talking about just this game and the outcome of the score. I'm talking about, in general, which of these two teams do you think is better? Do you think Dave Secret Crush or Wakanda is better? Overall.
Probably overall. I mean, are we talking about hockey's ambulance corps? Like, once they all get healthy, or right now?
I'm talking about right now.
Right now, Eugene.
Right now, Eugene, absolutely.
Yeah.
But if Wakanda's guys get healthy, I would put his guys ahead. If he's starting Breeze, Devontae Adams, Deshaun Jackson, Sammy Watkins. I mean,
yeah, I'm not talking about the people in the infirmary. I'm talking about the people that are in the lineup. Slayton, Fells.
Yeah. New England defense.
I mean, yeah, that would be included.
I mean, hockey actually won this week because of the New England defense. I've never seen a defense literally carry a team.
All three of his wins have been because of the defense.
Yeah. And the games that he didn't win, but that were close. I mean, like, if you remember that game with Lombardi, his defense kept him in it.
Yeah.
And if he can act, I mean, look, this is what we said about his team when everybody went down. If he could somehow just, survive, and keep himself afloat enough to wait till these guys get back, he could be a formidable opponent. Well, this is the kind of win that he needs to get in order to do that. And he might have, I don't know when these guys are coming back. Are they, what's the story on Breeze? Breeze on week 8 availability. We'll see. He plans to resume practicing this week. Maybe he'll come back. I mean, Watkins gets, it doesn't necessarily matter because of the Mahomes injury. Anyway, Deshaun Jackson, he almost played this last week. He practiced last week with the groin, so he might be coming back. Devontae Adams. I don't know what's going on with his turf toe, but, I don't know.
So we haven't seen the last of the Wakanda players, is that what you're saying?
No, not. I mean, maybe, but not necessarily. I think I don't know what his schedule looks like, but I mean, he needs more. If he gets some more bottom tier players, like the next couple of weeks that can keep him afloat, then yeah, maybe he could stumble his way into the playoffs.
As opposed to the Zamunda Lions, where down here they all float.
Yeah, no. They're terrible.
The Supers. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, as Booger would say, a lot can still happen.
Any given week, right?
There's a lot of football left to be played.
Yeah, a lot of football left to be played.
Gotta take it one game at a time.
One game at a time.
10%.
This is professional football, my friends.
Yeah, you gotta give 110%.
Yeah.
Put your nose to the grindstone. Anything can happen.
All right, maybe we can put that comment in context as we are. I think we're going to take a break right now. On the other side of the break, we will be back with our interview. And then we'll go over the standings in next week's games. But coming up next is this week's coaching interview. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. Are you someone who enjoys the taste of meat, but who is bothered by the fact that you're partially responsible for the hit job on that bovine in its prime? Have you tried the alternatives only to find that they taste like dirt patties filled with enough estrogen to give you a nice rack? Well, if you're looking for an alternative, look no further than Dave's Vulture Farms, where we pick the scraps off of former players whose careers ended due to natural causes. Feast off the discarded remnants of once proud players that have now been placed on the chopping block. Literally. We'll stay up to all hours of the night to make sure we get only the choice grade F cuts that are lying face down on the side of the road that give you that guilt-free burger you so desperately crave. Vulture Farms. Taste the rigor mortis. Welcome back to the show, and on the coaches interview segment, we have the team that was formerly not to be named. I guess we can now name them. It's the
formerly Team Voldemort.
Yes, it is the 3-time semi-cup champion and 3-time finalist in the championship game. The coach of the Hartford. Well, what are you? The Mighty Whalers. Mr. Scott Williams, welcome to the show.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. I know there's been a lot of bad blood over the last few weeks between the so-called news program that you guys run and my team here, the front office of the Mighty Whalers.
Yes.
I just want to start by saying that I'm not here to apologize. I'm not here to clear the air. I'm mostly to double down. A lot of your opinions are frankly reckless and are bad for the league as a whole. And hopefully this conversation can expose some of the hypocrisy and some of the bias and some of the favoritism that you show each and every week. So,
we don't deny any favoritism. Obviously, we have a rooting interest for a lot of teams.
Wow, the trash talking starts early.
Would you say that? Because Eugene, did you listen to the Eugene interview like a few weeks back?
I no. Eugene was 1-4 at the time, and I don't listen to teams that are that far out of playoff.
Oh, this is going to be good.
So did you listen to mine? Because I was clearly in the playoff hunt when I did the.
No, I mean kind of the same thing. We may have started in the beginning, and there was a lot of talk about how you were going to take over first place, and we really wanted to just focus on the week ahead. So we fast forwarded right through it. We got to the part that mattered, talking about my team and how we're going to perform in the weeks ahead. I mean, I think something does need to be said before we go any further. I mean, you introduced me as the 3-time finalist in this league, which means that we've been the top of the standings for the majority of the years this league has existed.
Absolutely.
And yet, week over week and year over year, there's been no respect paid to the management of the Mighty Whalers or the franchise as a whole. I mean, at some point, maybe you can put your bias aside and you know what? Call a spade a spade. This is a top-tier program.
We will start calling
a perennial playoff team, a perennial finals team. And maybe when Yahoo says that they're going to be the best record in the league, yeah, maybe Yahoo's looking backwards as well as forwards and understanding that the Mighty Whalers will always be on top.
We will absolutely give you the credit that is deserved, and we will start naming you the Buffalo Bills. Or perhaps, well, actually, the Bills did it every year in a row. You're more the Vikings of
every
the 70s.
other year.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably more fair. Yes.
Well, what do you think has led to your success in all these years? Because you were in the first finals. You were in the finals against Shauna, against Eugene, yeah. And you might be in there this year. What has led to the consistency over all these years?
I think that we usually by the time we have the draft for this league, I'm about 3 or 4 drafts in. The drafts for this league tend to run to about 2 a.m. Pacific time, and that is just far past my bedtime. So I've yet to have a draft where I feel that we've had a really good showing. I think where we excel is on 2 fronts. One, I think we play the waiver wire more aggressively and better than any other team in the league. And 2, I think teams continually offer me ridiculous offers. The Hackettstown Hagglers offered me Michael Thomas, one of the best receivers in the league, and LaShawn McCoy. I think for a couple Parkway tokens and a broken down Todd Gurley. So, I mean, trades like that have propelled me. Last year I got Zach Ertz for a bottle of Gatorade and a $5 bill. I think recently Brandon Cooks was shipped off for Melvin Gordon. I mean, these are trades that have been offered to me. So,
are you saying that you haven't offered any ridiculous trades yourself?
Listen, Justin Tucker is among the top fantasy producing kickers in the entire NFL. I saw your segment last week. I'll be honest, I was sitting on a plane coming home from Vegas on the tarmac when I sent the original offer, and then we started countering back and forth. The gentleman next to me must have thought that I was a threat because I was cackling like a child, laughing at how much fun I was having, putting in the comments that you were a big Justin Tucker fan in that offer on the Patriots. So, no, I mean, we put out feelers and we wait for the counters to come in.
I see you've been feeling up some monkeys.
The monkeys. Who are the monkeys? I mean, the monkeys, they have like something on their phones that auto rejects my offers within 4 seconds. I mean, my thumb is still on the screen, and I get the pop-up that the trade's been rejected. No commentary, no counter. I must have. Now I'm just offering him out of spite. Every Wednesday morning, I'm going to offer him a trade just to see how quickly he turns me down.
Well, what was the latest offer that you offered him that the auto trade went through?
I think there's been a lot of. I've been floating Michael Thomas around a lot because I'm deep at receiver, and let me look here. Let me see who Memphis has. Who was the guy who was? Oh, I think I was trying to get some little Saquon action.
No problem.
While he was injured, I mean, I figured someone with the name Memphis Monkeys might not be a Giants fan, and I can engage in a little good faith.
Yeah, let me take that off your hands, right? That Saquon, you don't need that.
I mean, they're going to shut him down any day now.
I don't believe he definitely is not a Giants fan. I don't know who he's a fan of. I don't even know if he's a fan of any team.
I mean, he's clearly not a fan of winning at 3 and 4, 9th place overall.
Yeah, but to be fair, 2 of those losses are not his.
That's true. I do have a question for the commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
Does he get if he doesn't spend his waiver budget, do you send him a check for $200?
No, of course.
Then what the hell is he doing? I mean, there's been no attempt whatsoever to improve this team.
Well, he made the trade for Saquon.
Yeah.
Oh, that was Audwin's guy, right?
Yeah, because Audwin's desperate because of he didn't get a Wakanda Mutual insurance policy.
What happened to the millennials? Like, what was the deal there?
Well, he basically, right before the season, we kept trying to get in touch with him, trying to find out if he would play. He said that he would. Like, in fact, he had been replaced because we hadn't. I mean, geez, you could tell him. Like, I mean, because you actually had the contact over this whole thing.
Yeah. I've numerous times tried to get him in. Actually, Hackettstown's finest, Manny here, had somebody lined up. It was all good to go, and at the last second, he's like, "I'm in," and then he was just asleep at the wheel the whole time, so we had to get the boot.
Well, not even that. We needed to. Because after 2 weeks, he didn't do anything. He wouldn't update anything. He wouldn't respond to us. We were like, "Are you still in?" And so he was, and then we said, well, at least respond to us by this date so we know you're alive even. and he didn't. Otherwise we're gonna have to replace you because we weren't gonna have a situation with like the deity. It's just a dead team. It's one thing if you suck, but if you're not even like doing anything, so.
No, I mean that actually makes me feel better. I thought he went 0-2 and then quit, and that was so he didn't try from the get go. So ironically, that actually makes him look a little better in the situation.
I guess, although the monkeys didn't like him anyway, so just because he knew him vaguely as a millennial who he couldn't stand, so he was happy to take over.
Gotcha.
So what is it about? All right, well, you mentioned like how you got there 3 times. What do you think was what cost you the game? Like, is there any reason why you haven't been able to get over the hump? I mean, look, I'm in the same circumstance. I've lost 2 of the ones that I've been to. What do you think didn't get you over the hump in those games?
Listen, fantasy football finals are crapshoots. It's the end of the year. Some players are being rested. Some players are being shut down. I mean, even we hold our finals, I believe, in week 16. I mean, even by then, you get some matchups and you get some teams that are trying to set themselves up for the finals. I've fallen prey now to not just 3 losses in the finals, but to 3 different teams. Each time, I think I went in as the better of the 2 teams. But I mean, I'm happy to get there. To make the playoffs in a league this competitive is quite the accomplishment. To get to the finals, I mean, 3 times. I know we would love to win one, but we'll take it. And you get to the Super Bowl or the Semi Bowl, and you roll the dice, you hope for your best. Kind of is what it is.
So do you think the fact that you mentioned it before about the respect that you want, but also like in terms of like last year, the trades that you made you had some really good, like what did you say about Ertz and everything else? Like you had some trades that were kind of rip-offs too. I don't know if you instigated them or if they were just offered to you. But do you think that maybe you skated under the radar a little bit for that? like you avoided the criticism and Eugene took the brunt of it last year?
No. Eugene is a blowhard. He seeks out any kind of attention, whether it be good attention, bad attention. I listened to Eugene all last year. I've been happy to watch him have to be quiet this year. What is he? 1-14. He's got a double losses in some weeks. I remember listening to Eugene coming out of the draft talking about, this blue chip team that he assembled. I mean, he didn't take his first pick until hour 7 of the draft, and we had to hear about all these steals he got late in the draft. Like, good job stealing those players, Eugene. Enjoy the offseason. Ideally, Eugene takes a lot of the pressure off of me because, the people who, one thing we could say, and I think if we're all being honest, the people who were part of the center, one thing they all have in common is they don't want to see the Whalers succeed. So, in that regard, Eugene does provide us with a lot of cover. I'm happy not to be the villain in this league.
Yeah, you're not actually the villain. It's interesting. I mean, you've kind of taken on a little bit of the role as Voldemort this time, but was that mostly a superstition?
Yeah, no. I find it interesting that I provide a little constructive criticism for the podcast, and I get labeled Lord Voldemort. That was petty. That was immature. But it's what I've come to expect from the 2 of you. So
maturity has never been our strong suit.
Yeah, I think last year was the only year of the 3 finals appearances where people were secretly rooting for me to be victorious.
Oh, we were. I don't think it was even that secret.
No, it was pretty open.
It was Trump versus Clinton. At some point, you just have to.
Yeah, you gotta hold your nose and vote. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was a supporter of the Team Voldemort name as soon as I got this trade proposal from you, and I want you to explain yourself.
Excuse me. Who am I? I don't know who you are.
I am the team that beat you this week.
The team that beat me this week. Okay.
Is this the start of a rivalry?
It might be. I am an ultra competitive guy, even though
I'm sorry.
this is
The Yankees will never be in a rivalry with an expansion team, so maybe circle back in 5 years and we can have that conversation. But please continue.
Can you explain this trade proposal you made in week 2? Le'Veon Bell for Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, listen. I'm gonna talk about Brandon Cooks a little bit. I mean, I was absolutely shocked that I got him for $6 in the draft. Brandon Cooks is a perennial, 1,200 to 1,200 yard receiver. He was playing on a very explosive offense. I think going into the season, he was wide receiver ranked number 14 or 15 overall. So he was like a high end wide receiver too. Le'Veon Bell was a guy sitting on a couch with a quarterback who had a ruptured spleen. I was short at running back, and I was trying to see what was out there for a receiver. I mean, luckily I turned that into a much better running back in Melvin Gordon for the long haul. So Brandon Cooks did return some value. But at the time, sure. Hey, do I think it's a straight up offer that you'd accept? Probably not. Do I think that you guys are way down on Cooks in week 2? I mean, granted, he's been brutal. But in week 2, Brandon Cooks, what I got him for at the draft and what his value should have been in week 2, I don't think it was ridiculously off looking at the Jets and what that offense was looking like.
Huh. Okay. So, have you heard of David Montgomery on Eugene's team?
Here's where you and Eugene align. I have another league, and I was high on David Montgomery, and I spent a lot of money on him, and I'm 2-5 in that league. He has been single-handedly a fantasy football team killer.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's killed his team. I think we're all enjoying the fact that Eugene is just terrible. So what is it that you think? Why are we underestimating your team? What is how? Where are your strengths on your team?
Well, I mean, my team is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of roster. I mean, because yeah, sure, we're 5th or 6th in the overall points. Another just pitiful showing this week, but I think we have 2 of the 4 highest point totals this season. This is truly a boomer bust team. Guys that you've been down on, Michael Thomas. I mean, Dees, you wrote him off the moment Breeze got hurt. Tyler Lockett is supposed to be a target hound. I mean, Joe Mixon's been garbage. Ertz has been down, but I mean, top to bottom, I mean, we can fill the roster without putting a scrub in any position. I mean, even the bench. Sure, we're not flashy, but even if you go down my bench, they're serviceable people who I want to settle into some roles. Like I thought Damian Williams was going to be a much better player this year. I'm glad to get McCoy to try to solidify that, but now they're both garbage. Sterling Shepard can't stay out of concussion protocol. Allen Robinson, another guy that you guys love to trash, just quietly puts up PPR points. Devin Singletary, at some point, Frank Gore is going to, get Alzheimer's, and they'll have to put Singletary into the lineup. So, I mean, there's a lot of upside. The only pick that I missed on 2 picks. Joe Mixon, who was a workhorse PPR guy who I had last year, who was good for 15, 16 points a game, has been absolutely putrid. And Damian Williams, who looked so good at the end of last season, has just been terrible in Kansas City.
Yeah, I look at your team. Actually, your wide receivers are good. I think you have a good quarterback in terms of Watson. I mean, he's been not great. He hasn't been like the Watson from 2 years ago when he was just lighting the league on fire, but he's good. But your running backs have been kind of meh.
Well, yeah. I mean, I went in. I drafted. I drafted 3 running backs, and I thought it'd be in a good place. And I had Gurley as my RB1. I had Damian Williams as my RB2, and I had Mixon as my RB3, and I thought I'd be set. Especially coming out of draft day, and Yahoo agreed with that. But it hasn't panned out that way. I've made 2 moves. To try to solidify a running back core. It's definitely a risk. But if I could get Melvin Gordon 2018 up and running, I think I'm in a much better spot there.
I mean, you might towards the end of the season. I mean, they might have been sitting him or whatever, and then you have somebody for the championship round that could be doing well. Who knows?
And I think that's the beauty of being 6-1. Is I play 500 ball the rest of the way, and I'm what, a 2 or a 3 seed probably.
Yeah.
I've gotten off to such a good start that, I'm picking up defenses ahead of time. I mean, I paid $60 for Jalen Samuels just so my opponent couldn't play him in case Connor didn't play. Like, I've been able to play defensive football, and I think I've made that comment that defense wins championships. But, come week 15, week 16, I think this depth, when the injuries start to really ravage some of these other mediocre squads, I think I'm in a really good spot. I mean, Aldwin lost Saquon, and his season ended there. One of these big Kamara gets hurt, and Nick is, what is he? He's another guy who's like, what, 2-5.
I think Nick has more problems than just Kamara. I think we were talking about it before we went on the air. I think maybe that hit in Center Bowl 2 on Nick might have caused him some, what'd you say, his CTE?
CTE, yeah.
Because his moves have been baffling to me this season.
He's been flatly unwilling to trade Kamara too, and I've offered him a couple of Michael Thomas plus running back kind of looks, because I mean that is where my need is. If Michael Thomas is great, but I mean, if I could put an Allen Robinson or Sterling Shepard in there to improve that Joe Mixon at running back too, I think I'd be a much better team.
Really, Nick has been, wow. That must go back to the old days when we told, we had an embargo on you like Cuba back then.
Embargo. Yeah, I mean, he said something like statute 25 ML3 center 1602, like he wasn't allowed to trade, but I didn't know what that meant. I figured it was the concussions.
Yeah, no. So are you trying to rev up the warehouse with Lombardi? Because that trade last week, my God, I mean, way to go pulling it off, but
I'll tell the story behind the trade. We talked off air about how I haven't heard the term warehousing in 20 years. And it brought back just the best memories. I mean, you guys remember the draft? We would just make everyone go to sleep and then drop all our players and redraft.
Well, that was the secondary auction. That was behind closed doors. That's where the real moves were made.
I look back at when I joined the center, I spent my entire first 2 years of college finding ways to break rules in a Sega Genesis hockey league. Like, that's how I spent. I would sit in class all day thinking about ways to screw over other teams and skirt the bylaws, and
and you were very successul. 3 semi-cups.
Listen, I think the website is still active.
It is.
EHL.20m.com.
It is.
Yeah, it's still out there. Whenever I'm feeling sad, I look back at the Whalers 3-peat on that website. But talking about the trade itself, no, it was simple as I had offered Lombardi coming out of the last week, where Gordon was still getting a 50% share of the snaps. I had offered him Cooks and Peterson for Gordon. Threw it out there, see what he would say coming back. He updated his trade block. I posted on the message board that I was looking for a running back. I then dropped Peterson because I needed room for D.D. Westbrook on the roster. And he sent the offer back. So originally he didn't respond to my offer for 3-4 days. I think he just got frustrated with his team coming off the loss, frustrated with Gordon's role, and he offered it back to me. I'll be honest, I love Lombardi. I couldn't accept the offer fast enough. And that's the story behind it. I wish it was a classic center, Shafto, or warehousing type transaction, but I think it was a matter of me being on the message board going, I need a running back, being frustrated with his team and needing a receiver, and throwing something out there, and we just, the timing was right for the deal.
Well, do you think that maybe our perception of some of this stuff has to do with what happened 20 years? Like, do you think people's reputations from the BHL have carried over to now?
Oh, yeah, I think mine has. I mean, I'm a family man working in insurance in Middle America, and I get called Lord Voldemort on the weekly. I mean, yes, I think my reputation from college is feeding me here.
Scott's like, I settled down. I'm looking to settle. I went on a straight and narrow, and instantly I'm painted as Voldemort. Some reputations are hard to get away from.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm looking at Brandon Cooks right now. I mean, just so we can put this to bed. I mean, he had 1,200 yards last year, 80 receptions, 5 touchdowns. He added some rushing yards on top of that. I mean, I still can't believe I got him for $6. I mean, granted, you guys have proven yourself right this year because he hasn't been good. But, I mean, you guys
you do put a lot more icing on your shit cake than Eugene's David Montgomery, though, with this Cooks thing. I like it, though. I like the sprinkles and stuff you put on there.
Yeah, you're a salesman. Are you in insurance sales?
I mean, I'm sorry. Are you an interviewer or a partisan pundit? Because
I'm a partisan pundit.
I honestly can't tell.
A partisan.
I'm talking to Don Lemon, and I'm being verbally assaulted on there.
Don Lemon.
I am clearly a partisan pundit. This is not fair and balanced. This is unfair and skewed.
Yeah.
So a lot of people critics of your team can attribute your success due to a poor schedule or
okay, let me stop you right there. Unoriginal team name, Hackettstown Finest. Because this was actually a point that bothered me quite a bit going into our matchup. Because going into our matchup last week, you had scored 20 more points on me for the season, and we're sitting in second place. You were averaging 3.5 more points per week than me going into our match. Yet all I heard about was this up-and-coming Hackettstown Finest and this overweighted Whalers team. Like, how is that? I wanted to get out. I mean, there was a point where I was ready to send a cease and desist letter because, I mean, that was just garbage. That is just garbage, lazy broadcasting.
Lazy broadcasting!
20 points over the course of 6 weeks going into it. But please, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well,
That was awesome.
You played Wakanda, who's been, their whole team has been injured. You played Nick and Jamie, you played Zamunda, and finally when you come up against a real team,
a real team.
How do you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, Manny, I guess I should have forfeited those weeks. I mean, I played the teams in front of me.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, I didn't make the schedule. Again, I will point out going into the 1 versus 2 matchup, the only person who has the right to complain about the points scored is Dave's team and the Lightning Rods, because they were over 100 points ahead of me. But this Hackettstown Finest team going in with 20 more points over the course of the year, when I chose to bench a defense, which would have got me 8 points earlier in the year, we were basically the same team going
that's
into
true.
that
was a very savvy move earlier in the season. I actually, while you're on the air, I will give you some compliments. I do think that you are savvy on the waiver wire. I do think that you make very intelligent moves like that, like benching your defense right before, just in case they shit the bed on a Monday night. I actually do think that you are a good coach. And that's all the compliments I'll give you. But I will give you that. I don't think Eugene... I said this earlier. I don't think Eugene is a good coach. I think he's good at shafting people, but I actually think that you make intelligent moves, and I think it shows in you being in three more than... Is it more than half the finals? If you make it to the finals this year, it will be more than half the finals. I mean, it would
be more than half. Yeah, right now I'm in the finals 3 of the 6 years we've had this.
And nobody has been in more than one finals other than me, I think. And obviously you.
Yeah, me and you, Dave, are the only 2 that have been in multiple finals.
Right. And granted, we've all lost.
I know. I mean, it would be nice if either of us won.
I know. Well, maybe one of these years we'll face each other, and it'll be like the Cubs versus Cleveland, where it looked like nothing was going to even happen. I don't know.
All right, so I got to ask you the same question we've asked every single coach up to this point. Unless we've covered it already. So, are you satisfied with your draft? Did you get what you wanted? Was there anybody you didn't get your hands on?
Yeah, no. I mentioned at the open, like I I don't think I've yet to have a draft that I was happy with in this league. This draft, I participated in 4 different paid fantasy football leagues. So I do quite a different auction drafts, state drafts, keeper leagues. This is the one league that's truly a redraft every year. And every year I fall into the same exact trap of seeing players go for $80 and going, wow, that's expensive. And then a half hour later I go, holy shit, I don't have any superstars. And for 6 straight years, I've never been willing to go up to that $80 for a player. And every year I leave the draft with holes in my not holes in my roster, but missing that flash, missing that superstar player. It's led to me paying $50 for like Todd Gurley's in this draft, which I didn't want to do. Trying to rely on the Mixons and the Williamses of the world. So I don't know if it's because the draft starts so late at night, and I mean I'm in bed by 10 o'clock Eastern most nights to begin with, or it's because this draft is always the last draft I have, and I'm trying to compare it to other leagues where players and coaches are more reasonable in their draft dollars. But I've never been able to adjust to this draft. And all my successes come from waiver wire and trades during the year. So, I mean, my drafts are always – I draft depth, and so I'll get that extra running back, that extra receiver, which allows me to make moves. So I've been able to improve my team that way. But no, if the question is, have I been happy with the draft? I don't think I've once been happy with the team I've drafted in this league.
I think I absolutely agree with you that the people in this league are absolutely insane. I've gone into drafts with draft strategies on players like, oh, I think this person will just go for no, and then he goes for it's like, where did that number come from?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll compare it. So, Brandon Cooks is getting a lot of airtime tonight. But it's like a comparable league. He went for $33, and I got him for $6 in this league. So like trying to chart a path to which run. I think Eugene fell into this trap. I think he was blown away by the prices up front and said, hey, there'll be value late, and then that value became David Montgomery, and that value turned into a 1-6 record, and that value turned into an embarrassing season. But, you really, if you could go back and do it again, yeah, I guess I would pay $85 for McCaffrey. And I'd be much happier with my team right now.
And I'd be less happy. But I was still gone, I think I probably would have gone 100 on him.
And that's, I mean, you just saying that is absurd, based on our budget and what we're looking for. But, I mean, this league is just different. I mean, I think that's one of the things I do like about staying in this league with you guys. And I mean, besides the podcast, and we have fun on it, is truly this league behaves and the managers behave unlike any other league. I would like to maybe provide a little feedback to the commissioner to maybe put like a 3-day period on trades. Because I go to the bathroom and 4 trades are processed, and I don't know who's on whose team anymore. It hits that button so fast. I don't even know sometimes players move, and I miss it. But yeah, this league is truly unlike any other in that regard.
No, it's definitely, yeah. I mean, but you know the characters in it. I mean, we basically have. I feel like nobody has, like, we've all matured in our actual real lives. But when we get together as a group, we all just regress to 20-year-old college kids. The ones the ones of us that were there.
No, I think it's a fair assessment. Yeah, I mean, you start thinking about the center, not about the fact that you got kids and jobs and careers, and I look forward every Thursday to this podcast popping up on Facebook, so I can kill a half a day listening to stupid fake commercials on a podcast.
I have a feeling you'll enjoy one of them this week. But so do you have any leftover rivalries from just who would you consider your rivals? Obviously, you're not going to consider the expansion team your rivals. So
no, I think listen, looking back at the center, I had no rivals. I was the top BHL player. I think I won the last 3 ever semi-cups. I think the league disbanded because no one could beat me. Not that people graduated college, but rather no one could beat me.
If that's how you want to spin it, O'Reilly, go ahead.
Yeah, looking at the league, I'd like to consider, Eugene, he's savvy. I mean, he understands fantasy football. And frankly, I like the idea of him losing. Like, I mean, you talk about me running my mouth. I mean, he's on another level, just a level of garbage. Because I mean, we can sit here and talk, and I can boast about what my team has accomplished and how good I think they are, and I back it up with reasonable, coherent thoughts. We can talk about Brandon Cooks and his stat line. Eugene just kind of shits out his mouth, and it doesn't make much sense. And he tries to convince everyone that he's right when he's not. I mean, you're all about high-end wide receiver 2s last year, and like it was Eugene. It's week 14. Like the guy sucks. Let it go. Like, and so if there's someone in the league I want to beat more than other teams, it is Dave's secret crush. The rest of the teams, it's just I mean, I always enjoyed beating LeVar when he was in the league. I mean, that was sport. But other than that, I don't think there's much rivalry. I mean, Hackettstown's finest. You want to.
What about the Hagglers? Did you ever feel a rivalry with Geese? I mean, come on, there had to be one in the BHL between the two of you.
No, I mean,
it wasn't much of a rivalry. It was common respect for each other, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we should go back and do a Where Are They Now BHL 20 years later documentary, because we could spend 3 hours talking about feelings that were hurt in the BHL and
or wrists or hands that were broken on doors and had to be taken to the hospital because of that.
Correct.
Sorrow having to be rushed there. I don't even remember who he lost to.
Yeah, I mean,
Odwin still has his nickname, Dr. Hockey, as a mocking nickname. I mean, somebody asked me recently, like, why do you call him Dr. Hockey? And I'm like, because he went to one of the press conferences and called himself, Dr. Hockey, and he was going to beat me, and then I swept him 10-0 in 4 straight games, and we started singing na 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 na, hey, goodbye, all the way down the hallway. and the nickname just stuck 20 plus years later.
Yeah, I mean, that's its own different ecosystem of conversations, and I mean, some of it bleeds over into this, but I think this is a much more cordial league. I mean, the BHL was cutthroat. Like you would see people in the hall and you'd stink eye them, and Grassi and I would want to fight in the quad, and there'd just be all sorts of weird shit, and some of that bleeds over. But in terms of fantasy football rivalry, I mean, the only person I get up for, I mean, Dave, when we play each other, I get up for that game just because I know if I lose, it's going to be a 2-hour podcast dedicated to how you beat me. But in terms of I mean, listen, Eugene gets a lot of credit. I mean, he was a guy who jumped into the league and quickly became someone I couldn't stand losing to. He beat me 3 times last year. He beat me twice in the regular season and in the finals. And I think the day after the finals, I went to the gym and I did a spin class, hit the punching bag, just thinking of Eugene's face. And I've been thinking about that loss most of the off season. So
see, your disdain and disgust for Eugene is surprising, because I always considered him fringe kind of Scottco roster material, but I guess not, huh?
He is. See, the difference between Eugene and I is all the things that you guys sarcastically think about me is who he is on a daily basis. So, the caricature of the Whalers is Eugene, the human being, and it bothers me.
I have to say, I haven't met any of you in person, even though I would really like to. And I have to say, my victory against Eugene was my most satisfying victory, because I thought your Brandon Cooks, Le'Veon Bell trade offer was kind of shafto, but the trade offers that Eugene has given me has been even worse.
Yeah, so, no, listen, it's the problem with Eugene is, and again, Eugene's a good guy. Let's not turn this into
absolutely.
Of course,
he's a really good guy. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
A lot of this, it's in the guise of fantasy football.
Of course. All of this is in the guise of fantasy. We actually really do like everybody in the league on a personal level.
But Eugene Brandon Cooks would that's a Shafto trade, and we'll laugh about it. If you say, Eugene, that's a Shafto trade, he'll write you. He's like Seth Abramson. He'll write you a 40-tweet thread about why you're wrong and his trade was a fair one. And it drives me nuts.
I've been on the receiving end of that, actually. Yeah, no, I know. Did you overlap with him in college? I know you were there,
No.
but so you don't remember because
I mean I remember the name, but I don't remember ever meeting him.
I mean
You know?
he was the Chicago Blackhawks for a couple seasons. It was him and like Mike Richards was his roommate Kramer, and then,
No, I was Mike Richards was my roommate.
Oh, so didn't he move out then?
I don't know, man. Maybe I met him. I don't remember him.
Kramer was your roommate?
Kramer was my roommate freshman year.
Okay, then never mind. I don't even. Yeah, I can't even. It's been so. I'm getting my Alzheimer's. I'm like Frank Gore. He was the Blackhawks though. I know he played as the Blackhawks, and he went and like pledged a frat or something, and then so he was in the BHL for like a season or something. Still trash talking like he did. Oh no, it was Georgiadis. It was him and Georgiadis that were the two guys.
I don't remember him.
Yeah. I don't know. There was definitely overlap, but I mean, you came into the BHL. I think that it was like your first season. You made it to the semifinals and then lost. And then I mean, I could look this up on BHL.20m.com. But and then you just dominated after that. And I think you beat Sorrow all 3 years.
Yeah, like I mean, it became an obsession. You know, I mean, I got put in the right quad at the right floor in college because I mean, I was all about that. I mean, that was esports before esports was cool.
Oh, absolutely. I oftentimes think about how I should be a really rich man right now had I monetized any of that.
Oh, remember, I was actually elected president of the center once we graduated, the RCAA.
Wow.
I remember getting our $500 check from Rutgers.
Did
for
you?
Equipment and supplies, yes.
Oh, nice.
So it was, and then after that I started drinking beers and sleeping with girls, and I gave up all that for a while. But it was cool while it lasted.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, I don't know. I don't know if I have any other questions necessarily. Geez, do you have any other questions?
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything.
Whalers, do you have any questions for us? You're here. Go ahead, ask us some questions. I know you have you already have plenty of criticism of the spin zone.
Well, I mean, hey, let's look at it. Looking at the standings, like, I mean, how do the three of you, each of you, feel about your teams right now? Do you feel you have what it takes to go all the way? Do you feel like you're going to have to make additional moves? Like, what's the state of the union on all three of your teams?
Well, I'll start with me. I feel like my team is in trouble. I think we started out really well. I actually got a lot of the stuff that I wanted, and now that I have all these injuries, it's starting to feel like last year. Because I actually felt I had a good team last year, but I was so devastated by injuries that it just made it impossible.
Yeah. No, Kerryon Johnson's definitely going to hurt you.
Yes, and I just made that trade. And ironically, I made that trade because Connor kept worrying me that he was going to get injured. And it turns out that Kerryon Johnson's the one who gets injured. I mean, I still have Breida, so I'm okay, but, like, I'm worried.
Yeah, I mean, Tevin Coleman could just become a bigger and bigger player.
I know, that's possible, too.
Yeah.
No, that worries me. The Fuller injury. I mean, Fuller, he's been okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the one good game, but whatever.
I mean, the one thing you have going for you is both your running backs are through their bye. So, I mean, if you have Jay Ajay in your roster. Jesus Christ.
I'm holding on. I'm holding on to hope for whatever. No, but look,
I mean, you make fun of Nick having Gronk on his roster, and you have Jay Ajay. The guy has no cartilage in either of his knees.
He's trying out for teams.
Yeah. I mean,
who else am I gonna pick up right now? I picked up Sam Darnold before the game, and then dropped him right in the fourth quarter last night.
You're seeing those. No. Listen, this team has holes. I mean, you got to pick up a quarterback tonight.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
I'm playing Zamunda this week. I might not even pick up a quarterback. Who's playing on Monday night? What is it, Pittsburgh? I might pick up the Pittsburgh quarterback last minute if I need him. Otherwise, I might just save the roster space. Look, my team is McCaffrey and Lamar Jackson based, with a little Waller sprinkled in. They get enough points, and I just need the rest of the jabronis to get me just tiny double digits, and I'm in every game. Or I play Nick and Jamie. That's my whole philosophy this year.
Did you draft Golden Tate or did I this year? I think he became a cap casualty with me early on.
I did not.
But,
You must have. I picked him up. Actually, Geese blames me for this. Geese suggested it, like, oh, I should pick up Golden Tate to me. And then I said, well, yeah, you should do that. Go do that. And then he wouldn't do it, and then he was sitting on it and sitting on it. And I said, well, then I'm going to do it. So I did. You lost your window, Ted.
Yeah, Dave, your team is the perfect example of what I talked about at the draft. Like, you have two guys who will get you 80 combined points each week, and then a bunch of fill-in 8-point guys. You know, Tyler Boyd's okay. Waller's 15 points, but I mean, there's nothing other than those two. There's nothing really to write home about on this team.
Oh yeah, no.
Put Waller in that category. He's been really good, but and you've scored 150 points more than him. So, what does that say?
Well, also a lot of that was on the 1 week where I got 209 points. So.
Was that an all-time?
That was all-time record. Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
All right, Keith. How about you? What do you think about your team?
Team is looking all right. I will throw my team in the garbage any given week if I'm dissatisfied. So my team's never a finished product. Actually, I have no qualms about throwing this entire roster in the dumpster at any moment. So I'm kind of a Joker kind of coach. I'm insane. So
I dropped the Drake. I thought he was absolute garbage. You immediately picked him out of the garbage bin, and he put up like 14 points for you that week.
Yeah, that was a big. I was a little bit surprised about that. What did you do? Just lost confidence in him because Miami's so horrible.
Yeah, no. If honestly, if you look at my team, I have a problem each week where I haven't been able to play the waiver wire because I have to wait for someone to get the out status so I can put them in the IR spot. Like, I've had the problem of having one too many players each week, and yeah, I've debated. Do I drop Damian Williams? Do I drop Devin Singletary? Like, there's not enough bench spots. I could drop Dede, but I'm in the same spot right now. I can't put in a waiver claim tonight because I'm one player too heavy right now. So I can't replace. I don't want to drop Justin Tucker. He's as good as McCaffrey.
I almost pulled the deal on that. The trigger on that deal.
I can't offer McCaffrey for Tucker and then drop Tucker. That would be unethical. I'm finding myself in that spot. I have a bunch of B players, so when you have a bunch of B players, you don't know which guy to drop. But you've flushed your entire roster. It's
repeatedly.
Yeah, honestly, at 4-3, you probably have been. You have $0 waiver budget.
Yeah.
You probably had the most impressive year of throwing the draft in the garbage and somehow coming out a winner.
I think Dave looked it up. My points from the players I've drafted is like the lowest in history. I have no original draftees on my team.
I shipped you Gurley. He was on your team for like 72 hours.
Yeah.
He's like a middleman.
You gave me Josh Gordon. He didn't even make the roster. He was immediately shipped to Nick.
You're like a middleman. You're like an importer-exporter.
Exactly.
Well, I found myself, ironically, like 2 weeks after trading Gurley, making an offer to a team to reacquire Gurley. That's been the round and around they go with this.
I'm considering doing that with my warehouse and going to pick up Connor out of storage.
I just hope these 1-6. I know we have the $5 a week thing, but I hope some of these 1-6 teams continue to battle because. We've usually had a lot of parity in this league. Yeah. But we're basically have 9 teams fighting for 6 spots. Those bottom 3 teams are so far behind at this point. There's just a mountain of teams ahead of them. They're pretty much done.
Well, 2 of them play each other this week. You know that. So one guy's guaranteed to be out. One guy's mathematically eliminated.
JV just put a post saying they were quitting on the season anyway.
Well, they said they were not going to focus on fantasy football. I think they're still playing though.
Honestly, at 1-6, was that how they focused on fantasy football?
I don't know. They have been titled the garbage barge for a reason.
Yeah. And all right, how about Hackettstown's most overrated? How do you feel about
honestly, I'm liking where my team is at right now, but I don't want to jinx it. I know in fantasy football, if Chubb goes down, tears his ACL, or Rodgers or Hopkins, I mean, it's going to be, struggle to me to get to the finish. But I think I do have a pretty balanced team. I always look for 10 points every game from each guy. That's the way I like to look at it. See consistency. And I was thrilled I got the win last week with Chubb on my bench. I was very happy with that, and I'm glad I picked up Chase Edmonds. So, I mean, I like the way it's coming together, but I know in any given week it can change. So I'm gonna stay a little bit humble for the time being.
In this league, that's tough to do.
No.
It is. Yeah. I can tell. But at the same time, I want to see how your record is going to shift once your strength of schedule improves.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're calling him the Patriots, basically.
I am, yes.
Yeah, I mean, before I go back to insulting you, I will say, I mean, your team, honestly, you're in a really good spot. I mean, the fact that you don't even have to start Eckler is the kind of running back depth I wish I had, and Emmanuel Sanders getting traded today only increases his value as well. So, I mean, I feel your team's in a pretty decent spot. I mean, you're going 2 tight end this week, which is, I think when teams go 2 tight end in fantasy, I think they have like a .20 winning percentage. So, I mean, keep that in mind. But Geese, that's your team going 2 tight ends this week.
We go the jumbo package. We do that a lot. Yeah,
I know it's so difficult to follow with the 2 Hackettstown's just laying out there. But by the way, just to answer your thing, so the points from post-draft acquisitions. So Geese is leading in the single week all time, the season average, and the season average all time. And points from draft players least. You're actually not leading in that. The Zamunda Lions for this year have only got 6.8 points this week. But the average on that, you do have the lead on that. 51. You average 51 points from your original roster, like when you won. So
and Manny, looking at my schedule, if I get through the Trey team this week, I mean, we're fine. We got to go to Haglerville and 1603ville, but Secret Crush by week 11. I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be lucky if he sets a lineup. And the Memphis Monkeys by week 12,
True.
Yeah, I get through this week. I mean, again, Dave's team is pretty good. I mean, Jim's team is pretty good. But if I can get to 7-1, I mean, sure, bring it on, straight the schedule. I mean, I'll clinch a playoff berth at that point. And
as of now, I'm calling you the Patriots with a loss. That's your nickname from me. The Patriots with a loss.
That's not the most catchy nickname.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, so who are the 2 teams that you're going to play twice? So.
Is that how it's set up?
Well, because your first week and your second week you play
Monkeys and Lightning Rods are the 2 teams I played twice.
That's actually not the weakest schedule. True. That's a reasonably difficult schedule when you get through the whole thing. I mean, like somebody who plays Zamunda twice. I mean, they're in the AFC East. I mean, and if anybody plays Nick and Jamie twice and Zamunda, you're really in the AFC. I don't know if that's that happened. I know that Nick and Jamie and Zamunda play each other actually in the last week of the season, so I don't know.
Yeah,
but your schedule's not that weak.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, looking even this week's matchup, super. I mean, if David Williams doesn't play for the Trey team, he's in trouble.
Yeah, I mean,
David Johnson doesn't play, he's in trouble.
I mean, honestly, looking over the landscape of the league all right, there's the 3 teams that are just done. We all know who they are.
Well, we call them the 3 amigos, right? They're all one and the
same. They're just done. So you're right, absolutely right. There's 9 teams fighting for 6 playoff spots. I mean, does anybody in that group stand out that scares you at all? I mean, I mean, I'm not saying that none of these teams can win. I think any one of them have the potential to win, but none of them, including my own, I don't think I'm like, oh my god, they're so dominant. They're not like Shauna that one year that she was just
just hurting people.
Yeah,
just hurting people.
Well, I think that's what makes fantasy football so great is that anyone can win on any given week. It's really true, you know. Mahomes went down, you know, if he was on a really good team, you know, and he went out in the first quarter, you're expecting 30 points from him, and you don't get them, you know. A bad team can win. So
no, guys. I mean, I get it now. You keep Manny around for that Booger McFarland hard-hitting analysis. That any team can win on any given Sunday. So, I mean,
that was awesome.
I was worried about the three-man booth, but now, I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Three-man booth. I love it.
So
three-man booth.
Fine. Let me put you in a little NBA China situation. What is your thoughts on the meltdown of the St. Louis Blues? Now, understand that you have a trading agreement with them to warehouse your players when you need them. So I know you can't insult G. Lombardi too much, but what are your thoughts on his meltdown earlier in the draft?
Yeah, listen, I was very critical of Lombardi on draft day. You know, stopping the draft over $60 on Beckham, wanting us to reverse a pick. It was already 3 a.m. at that point, and and then just leaving the draft. And I think if he looked back on it, he would know that he didn't exhibit emotional intelligence during that draft. But, I mean, he ended up with a really good team, and I'll give him credit that, he got over it and started coaching his team and making moves, and he got off to a really good start. I mean, his roster, I mean, he's got talent on this roster. I don't know. I mean, he's got Tevin Coleman, Aaron Jones. I don't think I would have moved Melvin Gordon. I would have used Melvin Gordon. He's been dealt some bad luck with Mahomes. But, I mean, if you look top to bottom, Beckham, Keenan Allen, Aaron Jones, Melvin Gordon at that time, Tevin Coleman, Mark Andrews at tight end. I mean, that's a team that could do some damage in this league. I mean, Mahomes, if he's out for 3 weeks, and, I mean, there's plenty of quarterbacks in the waiver wire to be a stopgap streamer. I don't think we've heard the last of the St. Louis Blues.
No, I mean, I just did get a headline that they are burning the Whalers jerseys in effigy and tearing down all of your posters in St. Louis. But
wait, yeah. Why is this?
Because you criticized G. Lombardi.
Oh, is this a live stream?
No.
I was hoping for it to get some of those quotes cut out in, like the post editing.
We'll finish it in post-production, right? We'll fix that.
No. I mean, look, I agree. I think that the rest of the league drafted a very good team for Cyberdyne over there in St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, I can't figure out your guys' strategy of the draft. Your ridiculous bidding, but the Yahoo internal computer seems to have figured it out just fine. And they've put together. I mean, I would have traded my roster for Lombardi's roster at the beginning of the year. And I tried my best. So and he quit after 3 picks. So I don't know what that says about me, but his team it's formidable. There's some talent there.
There is. Yeah, I don't know. So we're coming up on almost the hour mark, and I know you want to go to sleep, but any final thoughts that you have before we go?
Yeah, hey, let's end this with me being a human being.
I don't like that. I'd rather you not. I want you to be. Guys, I like this league. I mean, I'll just say it. I enjoy this podcast. My wife rolls her eyes every time I say, "Hey, I'm going into the bedroom for 3 hours to listen." But it is a fun league. I love Eugene, even though I was critical of him earlier in the evening.
This is a very fun league. Manny, maybe something's going on here where we're gonna have a little bit of a rivalry.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
You and
I
Booger?
hope to meet in person one day, and all of this is all fun and games.
No, absolutely.
You're a great guy, and
it's all.
a lot of
I have
fun.
absolutely no desire to ever meet you in person, but it is.
You don't want to meet Booger?
The three-man booth. I love it.
I mean, he did break out the any given Sunday. And that was awesome. An hour 54. But guys, I mean, honestly, all kidding aside, I mean, I've known you guys 20 years plus now. We're still laughing about the same jokes from 20 years ago. I mean, that says a lot about this league. And geez, thank you for taking over as the commission, keeping it going, and long live the whale. Maybe we can get a championship and start getting some goddamn respect around here.
Well, thanks for dropping your media ban.
Yes, thank you for allowing us to broadcast in China. We're in Hartford. All right. All right. Thanks, Whalers.
Thank you.
Good to talk to you.
Yeah, guys, take care now.
All right.
You too.
All right. So we'll be right back with more right after the break. Hartford Pro Shops is this league's premier outlet for equipment to help you catch the prey of your choosing. We have top-of-the-line fishing poles by Cook's Bait and Tackle that barely require any bait on that hook. If bird hunting is more your speed, stop on by for some Tucker brand vulture shot. Or maybe you're in the market to trap some monkeys. We've got some macaw cages on sale that should pester those primates right into submission. And if you're into big game, we've got a wide selection of Robinson rifles, sure to snag even the most pesky of lions and panthers. Hartford Pro Shops, where you might catch nothing, or you might just nab yourself a whale of a deal. All right, welcome back to the show. So let's go over the standings and then some transactions. So first of all, you look at the standings. Look at who's at the top.
the Hackettstown's finest.
Look at that.
Yes.
With 953 points, you're actually getting even close to the high point total. You're not there yet, but you're close. The Whalers in second with 6-1. At 6-1 with 897.18 points, followed by the 1603ers in third with 989 points. Then the Blues and Tillet Tray with rounding out. Well, not even rounding out. So the Blues with also 5-2, 824.50, and the Tillet Tray with 869.78, and then the Hagglers rounding out what would be the last playoff spot right now at 4-3, 836.14. Then you get into the 3 and 4 bracket: Lightning Rods, Wakanda Panthers, and Memphis Monkeys. The Lightning Rods having way more points than all the rest of these with 940.20, Wakanda with 870 and 851 for the Monkeys, and Dave's Secret Crush at the top of the 1 and 6 bracket with 861 points, followed by the Garbage Barge at 765 points and 728 for the Zamunda Lions at the bottom of everything. Yeah, so it's an interesting little division here. It's of the standings. You have 2 6-1 teams, 2 5-2 teams, 2 4-3 teams, and then you have 3 3-4s, and then there's a huge drop off of 3 1-6s. So, I mean, I think you could basically eliminate the bottom 3 at this point. I think that the 3 and 4 teams, they're the bubble teams, and I think there's a good shot of any one of them making it into the playoffs. And obviously the 6 and 1 teams, they're probably playoff bound. We'll see if they get the bye. I mean, there's people nipping on their heels. I mean, but it's really it's an interesting balance of teams.
Yeah, it's like evenly spread out. Everybody's in their own bracket.
Yep. Yeah, there's like nobody with 2 wins. That's another interesting. It goes from 1 win to 3, 4, 5, 6. But yeah, very interesting.
Yep. Very interesting.
As far as the transactions, there's plenty there, and I think there's plenty to talk about. So let's go into the
we could almost do an entire show just on
transactions
this year.
I know. Well, are you trying to sell jerseys? I don't know. We can get into that in a second. Just use jerseys like they're walking around in some poor country, just like, like they get the non-championship championship T-shirts. You just ship them off there, like, here, take these. Here, take this jersey that was used for 1 week. All right. Well, so as far as the bidding in the auction last night, there's another huge price that was just not necessary to pay. Apparently, I paid $74 for Ty Johnson, next Johnson up. I mean, I see Manny. We kind of went back and forth on picking up each other's garbage. You picked up Will Fuller garbage. I picked up your quarterback garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all right. So $74. The next closest bid, I believe, was $0. I never know what goes on. Like, first of all, I needed him as a running back. I had, went out and got Kerryon Johnson largely because James Conner kept getting injured every game, and I was terrified that he would be injured at some point for a long time. But no, ironically, the healthy guy I get goes and gets injured in Kerryon Johnson. Now he's on IR. I had to go pick up his backup. And this was, I made sure that the only players that even want to spend money, apparently, because I mean, what did Wheeler say? Does he think, he's going to get cut a $200 check afterwards?
So if Chase Edmonds was still on the waiver wire, how much would you spend for him? $150?
No, I wouldn't have, because Chase Edmonds is going to be good for 2 weeks. There's a huge difference between picking up the handcuff that I should have had, I guess, and somebody that, like,
okay.
I mean, I think Edmonds will be good until, until David Johnson comes back. I mean, it's the same feeling I have about Eckler. I mean, like, there's a lot of running backs out there that are good for right now, but
that's true. I mean, we'll get more into it, but like the Chubb and Kareem Hunt, I mean, Chubb has been amazing. So do you think he's going to be benched when Kareem Hunt is going to come? I mean, it's hard to tell, Eckler has still been on the field when Melvin Gordon has been there.
Yeah, I know.
You can't really tell if, Edmonds will be benched once Johnson comes back.
I know. Well, he's going to be. Come on. He had one good game against the Giants. Come on. It's David Johnson. Give me a break.
Well, he's been very injury prone.
Great. I mean, so is James Conner. Then Samuels went in and got himself injured. I don't know what's going on. Everybody, we are all Wakanda this week with all these injuries that took place. So whatever. I mean, and then, so all right. So as far as other pickups, I can't believe the Monkeys got Kiki Kute for $1 after fully. I mean, I put in a $0 bid just because I was focused on
Ty Johnson.
Yeah, and I just didn't want to spend that much. I mean, I threw in, I was just like, all right, I'm going to get it in case there's like nobody who claimed it. But had I known it was only going to cost me $2, of course I would have paid that. Oh my God, I don't understand. I never understand the mentality in this league of anything. I mean, what else? I picked up Tannehill, dropped Tannehill. I don't understand what's going on with a lot of these teams. So I really don't understand what's going on with Nick and Jamie picking up players 3 whatever's in advance. They picked up they picked up the handcuff for McCaffrey. When you're 1-6, maybe you should focus on players that you need now, not like players that you're gonna need down the road. I guess they dropped him though. I don't understand any of this. Whatever. The Pittsburgh defense, they think they picked them up 2 weeks ago in anticipation of. They were just looking past their matchup. I don't think you can afford to look past your matchup when you're 1-6. I don't know. Call me crazy. I don't know. I think that, and is that all the notable pickups on the waiver wire? I mean, there weren't that many, and in the aftermath. I also picked up McKissick. You can McKissick your season goodbye, just in case. Just in case they decided to go with him. I never know, because if you recall last year, I actually had Eckler. So I had Gordon. I had Eckler as his handcuff. Gordon went down. So I picked up Eckler. And or I didn't even pick him up. I had him. I started playing him, and then they went with Justin Johnson. I'm not having that crap happen again. Like, it's not happening. I'm having both of these guys, and whoever goes is the one that I'm going to have, and the other one will be thrown in the garbage bin, and all of the vultures can go over there on Tuesday night and pick them up. But I'm making, or on, it would be Tuesday, because I'm going to drop them, like, mid-game. Whichever one is the loser. Whoever is the weakest link, goodbye. So, so that's as far as that. Then we move on to the trades, because what are you going to do after the trading deadline? When is the trading deadline? It's like the 12th, I think?
I think November 9th.
Okay. Well, what are you going to do after that?
It's going to be very boring for you.
I know. How are you gonna ruin your team and then try to rise it like a phoenix right after that? You should call yourselves the Hackettstown's Phoenix.
Well,
or the Phoenix Hagglers. I don't know what you want to call yourself. I don't understand these trading moves.
Our backend's a little bit salty.
Ooh.
They wanted running backs.
Well, had I known that I could have gotten a Le'Veon Bell for, a half-eaten bologna sandwich, I would have I would have given you my injured players. I had plenty of injured players to give you. 3 of them were injured this week. I would have been happy to give you that for a running back one. I feel like this is the dumbest Hackettstown Hagglers move since the first time they gave away Bell years ago when Lombardi was crying about it.
This must be what Whalers feels like.
What do you think of the Eckler Kareem Hunt trade?
To their opinions, obviously the critics and the pundits could speak, but there was methodology behind it, and I'm going with it.
What's your methodology behind it?
I wasn't happy with the offense that has been put around Le'Veon Bell. As great as he might be, he's not going to put up the kind of points that he's capable of on the Jets team, while Austin Eckler has pretty much put up those points consistently. And Devontae Freeman, obviously, when he comes back, Adams, when he comes back, he's going to slide right back into the offense. He's not going to be riding the pine.
I don't know.
Devontae Adams.
I feel like you overreacted like a teenage girl to the best defense in the league dominating the Jets, and you jettisoned an RB1 after one bad game that was a bad game for the team.
I mean, I don't think you can point to a single game this season where you can point to Bell's numbers and go, yeah, there it is. That's the Le'Veon Bell that we knew we expected this season. He hasn't performed.
What do you consider?
This was part of the reason why I gave him up, because the offense is just so putrid.
Yeah, coming from 2 Bell owners now who have given him away.
He hasn't put up, I think, more than 20 points in the game yet.
Oh no, neither is Saquon.
And this coming from a McCaffrey owner who consistently gets 45 points out of his man. Like, I just don't see the critique.
You don't see look, not everybody's going to be McCaffrey. I mean, what, is that your standard? If they're not McCaffrey level, if they're not scoring 45 points a week, that's it? Just jettison them, throw them in the trash can? Is that your standard? Oh, no, because you're going to have to dump a lot more players if that's your standard.
It can easily be made that Austin Eckler has been more Le'Veon Bell than Le'Veon Bell has.
But he's now in a timeshare.
If you look at his points, he has progressively gone down every game this year. He started with 23, he's gone to 20, then to 10, then a bye week, then 15, then 12, then 8. So every week he's been going down.
All right, let's look at his upcoming schedule. Jacksonville, Miami, the Giants, Washington, Oakland, Cincinnati, Miami. I mean, come on.
The schedule is weak. That is true. That is a good point.
I mean, if you want a guy that can put up Bell-type numbers, the type of numbers you can pick him up in the free agent market. A running back that has put up the numbers that Le'Veon Bell has put up.
Who?
Any free can get you just above double digits, like Bell has put up this season.
Tell me who's available right now in the running back market that you could pick up right now that's going to consistently get you those numbers. Who's available?
Get you just into the double-digit range? Anybody.
Who? Who? Which running back right now? I'm dying to know this secret running back formula that's sitting out there. Right now, the top pickup or the top available running back is Benny Snell Jr.
Who's that?
He is the backup to James Conner. Now, I mean, who doesn't want themselves some Snell?
Benny, what the Snell?
But I mean, look, maybe you see a plethora of running backs. I mean, I don't even. I mean, these are pure. Walton? Do you want Walmart?
What point are you trying to make? You're talking about a Hagler team that plays basically DraftKings football. We'll throw anybody away at any time.
Clearly.
Yeah. So I don't see what the surprise is on your part.
There's no surprise. I mean, this is Hagler's football. This is why, they are consistently not, they're a team that's always on the bubble, that never builds anything and is just week to week hair on fire. I mean, the one time they won the championship, they won by the skin of their teeth. I mean, this is the first Hagler's team that I had seen that had actually been built from the beginning, till now. It progressed. You had an over 500 record. It looked like things were going well, and then you're like, you know what? It's not exciting enough for me. I don't like being over 500. I would like to be. I want to give my fans a heart attack. I'd like to see. This is too. I mean, 500 this early in the season? No, we have to at least fall 2 games behind there, and need some desperate things to happen. We need everything to fall into place to get there.
I don't know if he has any fans. Booger over here has some fans.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, I mean, clearly you two go down to the Hackettstown Depot and just drop off your players with each other and pick them up. I don't. I mean, we could analyze your. I'm still waiting for this magical running back. I mean, Geis, he's on IR. Rojoke, you could get. You think Rojoke is going to be the one? Smallwood. Darrell Henderson, Adrian Peterson. Oh, that's who you meant. Adrian Peterson, of course. I mean, listen, Wayne Gallman. Go get yourself some Wayne Gallman. I mean, he's the same as Bell. Obviously.
You know what? That's the funny thing. Like, look at his numbers. It's 27, 13, and then you might as well have the same numbers production-wise because Bell hasn't really produced either.
Bell had a bad game against the Patriots. He is going against Jacksonville, and then Miami, the Giants, Washington, Oakland, Cincinnati, and then Miami again. I mean,
I am big on schedule, Geza, and he does have a point there.
I mean, he might have a favorable schedule. He doesn't have a favorable offense.
It doesn't matter when you're playing such terrible teams.
He's basically playing...
Jacksonville's defense isn't that good and put up 17 points against Cincinnati.
They're basically playing New England's schedule until the playoffs. Look, the Nick Chubb thing, it's one thing. I mean, but Chubb had a difficult schedule. Kareem Hunt is just sitting there waiting to come back. You don't know. Okay, that's a reasonable trade to get rid of. But, I mean, I don't understand it. For what? I mean, for Eckler, who's in a running back share where Melvin Gordon is very likely to take over eventually. I mean, he had a bad week. He fumbled. He might not, he's going to be in the doghouse this week, but we'll see. You took Le'Veon Bell was the only running back, the only one on that team that's getting anything. And now he's going against Miami, the Giants, Washington, Oakland, Cincinnati, and Miami. And you gave that up for a man with turf toe. A wide receiver with turf toe. You want to know what there's actually a plethora of? There's a plethora of wide receivers out there that can get you double digits week in and week out. There is not a plethora of running backs out there that can get you that. And I'm just saying, I would have given you plenty of injured players for him too. So, I wish I would have known I wish I would have known. I bet you everybody in the league would have been like, oh my God, I could have gotten him for a half-eaten bologna sandwich. That's all I needed to give you.
So I think Dave Harbacken spent $74 when he could have spent $2. That's where this conversation is beginning.
That's absolutely true.
I think
I could have given you Fuller. Clearly. I should have spent $2. I could have given you Kute and Fuller for Le'Veon Bell, and I would have solved all my running back problems. And then whoever bid $0 could have picked up Ty Johnson.
Ty Johnson for $74. Did anybody? You say nobody else even bid on him?
No, they bid $0.
Oh, $0. So it's just the same.
It's like how I bid for Kute. I think two teams. If I have this in here, let me get the actual. But there was hefty bidding for Teddy Bridgewater. Why, I don't know. Okay, so I don't understand this league. Weiler's right. Everybody's a lunatic.
Bridgewater when Breeze is about to come back this week?
Everybody's a freaking lunatic in this league. All right, let me see this. Okay.
They gotta have him for that
game. They gotta have him. All right, so Ty Johnson was also bid on by Zamunda and the Lightning Rods. The Lightning Rods bid $0 for him. The Lightning Rods, by the way, who have how much money? The Lightning Rods. The Lightning Rods have $221. They have. So you start out with $200. He had leftover money from the auction. $21 more than he had left over in the auction. But no, he could only afford to spend $0. What? What? Why even bother? What do you need that money for? We're in week what? He has the most money. I mean, he bid $0? Oh my God. I don't. Bridgewater, but yet Bridgewater was won by the Blues for $15. Thank God he spent $15 on Bridgewater because the Wakanda Panthers were out there spending $11. Once again, needing another quarterback week in and week out when everybody else is on IR, but they got to focus on that quarterback. And then $10 by the Memphis Monkeys. I mean, okay. Clam Crowder had more bidding. $4 was outbid. Zamunda picked up Clam Crowder. Oh wait, that was the week before. Sorry, that was the week before where he outbid himself.
Last week.
There, you're right. That's back. What else?
My question is, why would you bid $15 on a player who's going to be benched this week for someone that's coming back? I mean, that makes no sense.
I don't know, but this week he had another circumstance where he outbid himself. He bid $0, so Zamunda bid $0 for AJ Brown. But then he ended up bidding $5 to get him. So he outbid himself again. I don't understand what Zamunda's doing. They constantly take players that they could have gotten for free and outbid themselves. They're like, no. We want to spend some more. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, $7 for the defense, that's fine. I think that's the best defense this week. That's who I would have gotten. $7 for the Rams.
Did you bid on them?
I did not, because I was focused on getting a running back. I had significant RB2 problems. That was all my focus was.
Okay.
And I don't bid on defenses generally. I'd rather save that money for actual players. I mean, I bid
on defenses when I see that their schedule is extremely easy.
No, I know. I don't. That's just like a personal preference of mine. I don't fault you for that. I think that's a good strategy and a good way to spend the money. You know, like rather than spending it on. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do, is to go and spend money on a couple bucks here and there on a defense every week. Especially if you're not trying to get land these huge, deals. But I just don't understand any of this. And then picking up, so what was the Eckler deal? What was this one? So you traded away Eckler.
It was Eckler for Kareem Hunt. So I was looking at Gaze's roster. I had four. I had four quality running backs. I had Gurley, Eckler, Chubb, and Edmonds. So
wait, you have Gurley again?
I do.
Didn't you get rid of it, or did he just land? I don't even remember when. I don't know. This guy has been on. He's been under the bleachers.
I gave him Le'Veon Bell. I gave him Le'Veon Bell, and he gave me Gurley and Hopkins.
Right. Okay.
So now, I was looking for. Kareem Hunt was actually someone I was targeting in the draft. It went really late in the draft, and I had no money, and I put $1 up, and someone outbid me, of course, because he's good once he comes back from suspension. So now that the suspension is coming to an end, Chubb,
do you have Chubb?
I do have Chubb, so it's his his handcuff.
Okay.
And I like the Browns' schedule, to be honest. I'm big on schedule. I think schedule is an overlooked thing, and I'm big on that. And
it's clearly overlooked by your crosstown rival.
But if you look at their schedule, they have New England coming up, and he's suspended for that anyway. But then they have Denver, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Miami, Pittsburgh again, and then Cincinnati. So going into the playoff rounds, I like having those two Browns running backs.
I don't see why you're so surprised. What would a season be without a Hagler controversial Bell trade?
No, I know.
Staple hallmark of the Hackensack Hagler. They do something controversial and off the loop with Bell every season.
I don't feel like it's. I mean, look, I wouldn't say it's controversial. I'm not saying that anything should happen because of it. I just think it's a dumb coaching move. It's just dumb, and you deserve. I mean, if we're going to ridicule the other players for their dumb moves, I'm going to ridicule you for your dumb move, just like everybody else. Maybe I'll institute a fraction of fair and balancing in this. Maybe the Whalers has inspired me to criticize the rest of the people here, Booger included. What do you and speaking of this, Booger. I mean, all right, you want your handcuff, but
okay.
So obviously you don't think highly of Eckler if you're giving it to him.
It was a tough move for me. Eckler has been probably one of my best players all year, but the Gordon thing concerns me.
Yeah.
He's getting playing time, and I don't have Eckler's handcuff. I don't have Gordon, and I do have Chubb.
So you've fully committed to the Cleveland offense. I mean, I don't...
And I think they will be fighting for a playoff spot going, into the later weeks of the year, and they have a very easy schedule. So I think they will both be a big part of the offense.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, this is an atrocious deal. Because I don't even know if Kareem Hunt's gonna. If Kareem, you look at this. I mean, if I were the fan, but all the fan bases in Hackettstown, the Jets and Giants, the Hagglers and Finest, everybody is reading the Hagler Post and the Hagler Daily News and is furious writing ownership about how angry they are at these moves because they are just stupid. But I mean, whatever, it makes sense. You want your handcuff. I mean, yours is less dumb.
Less dumb. Okay. I mean, yes, on paper
It makes
we don't
sense.
know how Kareem Hunt is going to perform.
But at least you have your handcuff. At least
it's a
you've
risk.
committed. You've committed to Cleveland. I can understand. There is a plausible narrative that you could play in your mind for that deal. I get it.
The weak schedule and the handcuff are the two reasons why I decided to pull the trigger.
Yeah, and look, you want to get rid of Eckler before he sinks to the bottom and is nothing, which is very likely to happen. Which I actually think is going to happen. So you might as well get something out of it, and you got the handcuff. So now okay, you're Cleveland committed. That's fine. Obviously, Chubb has been doing really well, and in case that gets cut into, you'll have Hunt. So I don't. Like while you read the headline of the whole thing and you go, holy shit, that's a terrible trade. You look at the actual thing. I can make a plausible story or a reasoning behind it.
Plus, Eckler has a bye week coming up. Kareem Hunt's bye week already passed.
All right, there you go. Even more. So fine. I don't get the Bell thing. I don't get it. Why do you do you hate him? Are you Wade Phillips of Le'Veon Bell? I don't understand it. Just sitting Doug Flutie there. All right, Doug Flutie, here, let's embarrass you publicly again. I don't understand it. And by the way, the loudest voice against the last Bell blunder that you had, that didn't end up being a blunder because you won the championship, so who am I to say, was the Blues, and ironically, that's who you play this week. I think it's going to be hilarious when you lose to the Blues by the differential in score that Bell would have gotten and Eckler gets. I think it's going to be hilarious. I can't wait. Although, adding even more irony to that thing is that he gave away Gordon, the other guy, to the Whalers. So, I mean, everybody's, whatever. It's wife swapping happen. It's like a swingers party in this league. I don't even know.
I think McCaffrey might be the only guy that stayed on his original team this season.
I know. Everybody's going to everybody. I don't understand. Everybody's just white. Who do you want for this week? Rent a bitch. All right, let's go into the games for this week. Oh my God. Fine, let's go to this Blues Hagglers matchup.
Do you want a $74 refund?
I'd love one. Can I get one?
Is that where all this saltiness stems from?
It doesn't. Look, I was willing to spend it, and I spent it. Whatever. What am I saving for?
I mean, you ended up $74 with T.J. Hooker.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, no, it's not a great. It's way overpaying for him. But I spent $1 more than I believe the Whalers or the Finest had. Because I thought those were the only two that were going to realistically go and spend that kind of money on this guy. So I wanted to make sure that those two didn't get it. I mean, Tillett had $100 and could have spent it. And I said to myself, I looked at the other people and I'm like, they're not going to spend the money on them. I mean, the Lightning Rod's not going to spend that kind of money. He has 221. And I was right. I can't believe that he wouldn't spend $1 when he has 220. I can't wait to see the dollar that he spends. I'm anxiously awaiting to see who he's willing to pay. Just minimum wage. I don't care. Pay him like 1 hour minimum wage. I mean, the Lightning Rods are running a tight ship over there with their prison labor.
Meanwhile, the Hagglers have $0.
Yeah, $0. They'll spend it like a drunk sailor. Okay. So anyway, whatever. We'll see how it plans out. Maybe it's great. Bold move, Cotton. We'll see how that works out for you. Bold strategy. All right. So the projection right now is 116 to 113 in favor of the Hagglers. So Bridgewater against Stafford, Keenan Allen, Metcalf going against Fitzgerald and Tyreek Hill, sorry. Well, that's still tie. Your new vaunted running back core of Jamal Williams and Austin Eckler going against Aaron Jones and Tevin Coleman. So basically you have the two Green Bay running backs going against each other.
Yes.
With Lombardi having the better one. Because what?
I like how Harbakin adds the extra. He can't just
13. I'm just saying 13 points for Jamal Williams last week. What did Aaron Jones get last week against Oakland? 18. I'm just saying the 1 to the 2. So you have the 2. All right, Eckler versus Coleman. I mean, we'll see. I think Eckler might actually be okay this week. I mean, he got
against the Bears.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Never mind. What am I saying?
At the Bears.
I mean, he did fantastic against that Pittsburgh defense with 5.8 points. At the Bears, yeah, Eckler's going to suck. Way to go. I think I'm absolutely right. I wait to the score. I want to see what Le'Veon Bell does. And I bet the Eckler's lose by the difference between Eckler's score compared to Le'Veon Bell's. All right.
I wouldn't be touting Le'Veon Bell against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't think. Well, look, it's the most difficult game he'll have so far. Talk to me in 2 weeks.
The Patriots game was the most difficult with an offense like that.
I'm saying the most difficult that he has left after this point. Obviously, the Patriots were the most difficult team that he has played so far. It's fine, whatever. Do your thing. The Blues don't have a tight end at all because they're playing Rudolph. So it's the same thing as having nothing. You do have Hooper and you do have Henry. You're running the jumbo set.
Jumbo. Yep.
But you got Henry going against Chicago too. He's got Cooks, Gould.
Wasn't Cooks the subject of a controversy?
Of course, everybody. I mean, because everybody's been on everything. I can't even keep track.
What gigantic controversy!
I think I'm pissed as as an owner in this league because nobody can buy a jersey. The fans are revolting. Nobody's buying a jersey because by the time they buy the jersey, the guy's off the team. Jersey sales are down in the league as a revenue source. Who wants to buy a jersey? Somebody went out, a little kid saved his money for his Whalers Brandon Cooks jersey, and then the next thing you know, he's already on the Blues. And he's burning it in effigy. Killing the revenues in this league. All right. I mean, whatever. I predict the Blues win in an ironic fashion. Or so right now I'm gonna pick the Blues to win in an ironic fashion. However, I will say I will leave myself open to the Hagglers winning in an ironic fashion. All I know is that the one prediction I have for this game is it's going to be ironic. I don't know how. Tune in next week and we'll see how it's ironic. But I'm picking the Blues.
I'm picking the Blues slightly as well. I like Stafford's matchup, but I don't like your other matchups. A lot of Chicago, Seattle.
Tyreek Hill without Mahomes.
Right. Exactly. Yep. You have the worst of the Green Bay running backs.
Thanks, Booger.
Jacksonville against the Jets. That's good. But I don't know if Jacksonville can back up their performance last week with another good one this week.
Ironic. You went and got the defense that's going to go play against Le'Veon Bell. You better be rooting hard for them to take down your former man.
But then again, Drew Brees might be playing, so I don't know if Bridgewater is a good pickup.
Well, he spent a whole bunch of money on him.
And he doesn't have another quarterback, so that could be problematic.
He can go get another one. I mean,
Keenan Allen will be atrocious against the Bears. I mean, Phillip Rivers can't throw it more than 5 yards down the field. I mean, he's really starting to show his age big time. So, I mean, if Mahomes was playing, I would definitely give you the edge in the receivers, but I think it's kind of 50-50 there.
But Mahomes would have been his quarterback, so I think that's a net positive for the Hagglers.
True. True, that's a good point.
Let's do
Seattle
this.
against Atlanta.
Do you think the over under? If the over under was 200, do you think that would you take the over or the under? I'm talking about total points for the game.
Total points, I would give it an under.
Yeah. Do you think either of these teams crack 100?
No, not this week. I think it's going to be like a 97-93 game, kind of similar to your game last week.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as defensive football?
I guess so.
Defensive fantasy football. My favorite part about this whole matchup is the defenses. Seattle against Atlanta with no Matt Ryan, and Jacksonville against the Jets.
Well, I mean, since there were no players left anyway, maybe you'll just get a Hagler's jersey that says defense on the back. Maybe they'll have boost sales over there. All right. I'm assuming you're picking yourself?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Well, we shall see.
Gaze is not going to like seeing me at work on Friday. With this prediction.
Hey, it's all right.
I don't care. I'll be persona non grata. I'm gonna be. I'm attending a wedding in the woods, so I just gotta hope that I'll tell you this. I'm not setting anything that might be questionable. I'm gonna try to get some cell phone reception out in the woods to make sure. I'm in like some cabin with bunk beds this weekend. It's ridiculous. Like a 5-year-old. I better get some signal somehow to let me know if there's any injuries that come through. But it's okay. I'm playing some Monday. It doesn't matter. Actually, never mind. All right. I mean, we could do that game. We could do the 1603ers against Zamunda. Why not?
Right.
So, ironically, the projection is 116 to 115 in favor of Zamunda.
How?
I don't know.
Who's making these projections?
I don't know. I think because Beasley only has a 6.72 projected score against Philadelphia. I don't know why.
Philadelphia has the worst secondary in the league.
I know. Okay, Yahoo. Okay. I mean, look, we don't have Lamar Jackson this week. We have, Josh Allen, who we picked up in a drop swap. In a non-coordinated drop swap with the with the finest Corey Davis, who has a questionable tag. Look, Corey Davis, he has some history on my team he has some history on my bench. I'm more than happy to get rid of him. I picked him up because there's a lot of my other players have tough matchups this week, and he's actually been doing okay. He got 20 points last week. I think that he's connected with Tannehill, but if he's going to start to, flex his injury bug, you can go into the trash too, and you can go get drop swapped as well. McCaffrey against San Francisco. This is a tough matchup for him. San Francisco defense is good. I think Ty Johnson has a good matchup, the $74 man. I mean, we've seen what's happened to any other player that gets, spent over $60. They suck. So, I mean, who knows if he'll actually do well. Waller against Houston, that should be fine as a matchup. Golden Tate at Detroit, I think he'll do fine. Sly against San Francisco, tough. And the Tennessee defense against Tampa Bay. I debated a long time about this defense of what to do. I mean, I wanted the Rams defense. I thought that was the best defense of the week, but obviously you paid for him. But, I mean, Tampa Bay gives up a lot of sacks. And there's a good chance that Jameis Winston throws an interception.
They do, but they also score 55 points in some games.
Yeah, but the point, it's like how I feel about quarterbacks. Quarterbacks, it doesn't matter generally how many yards it gets. All that matters is really touchdowns. And for defenses, I mean, because the most negative that you're going to get is -3, I think. If you give up more than 35 points, then if you get one sack, or one fumble.
The fact you're talking about negative points doesn't bode well.
I don't think they're going to give up 35 points. I think the Tennessee defense is fine. I don't,
It's not a bad defense, but I think Tampa Bay actually has the potential to be an explosive offense. I mean,
Yeah, they do.
Those receivers. I mean, Godwin has been terrific, and Evans. And, I mean, they could be really good. So I don't know about that pick of a defense.
They weren't picked up. I mean, they were just on the team from last week, and I just didn't drop them, and because I didn't see anything else out there that was like thrilling.
Okay.
If I see something else that I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta go. I mean, but Tampa Bay's given up 3. I mean, they're the third most defensive points have been scored against them. So whatever. And I'm playing Zamunda. I don't really care.
That's true.
I'm gonna have Tyler Boyd against the Rams. I don't know. He's been troublesome and worrying lately because, I mean, the Bengals are just so horrid that even though he gets, I mean, like he's been largely reliant on targets, but I mean, they're so bad that he can't even get his garbage time target. I don't know what's gonna happen there.
They are really bad.
I know. Breda.
What does that sound like?
What?
What does that sound like?
What do you mean?
I draw that same similarity in my book to Le'Veon Bell this season.
He's a running back. We're talking about a wide receiver.
I don't care if he's whatever. I don't care who he is.
Do you want to compare kicker? You want to compare your kicker to my quarterback too?
He's a roster spot.
Well, the Whalers were comparing Tucker to McCaffrey, so I guess that's apropos.
Yes, in a mocking fashion. I don't know, whatever. Obviously,
Zamunda, I think you do have to watch out a little bit because they do have a lot of favorable matchups. Kamara against Arizona, Connor against Miami, Madison against Washington.
Madison? Is he even still I mean, is Dalvin Cook injured?
No, he isn't. That's true. But
why doesn't he play the hot dog vendor or the ball boy from Minnesota? Whatever. Yeah, it's a favorable matchup, but who cares if the guy doesn't play? Yeah, maybe Minnesota's left tackle or nose guard has a favorable matchup, but it doesn't mean anything. Who cares? Who are these players? Who's O. Johnson? Who wants a loss? I can't even say his name. I can't even say his name. Can anybody say his name? Olabisi Johnson on the Vikings.
All right.
Barry says he's getting the ball because Thielen's injured.
I don't know. My eyes pop open when I see Washington, Miami, Arizona.
I mean, clearly you're looking at
Oakland.
the schedule, but yeah, what does it matter?
When you're playing with such trash, I guess it doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah, maybe the fullback has a good match, but does it matter? Olabisi Johnson. All right, so the Thielen. I mean, this is classic Zamunda right here. That guy. He is the guy that's. I mean, he's constantly. I gotta hand it to the Zamunda Lions though. I will say they are at 1-6. They are working it. They are working the deep cryo freeze, sleeper pick. I mean, guys that, yeah, my hat's off to the research department over there in Zamunda. I mean, my God. Ty Williams, he's got a questionable, but he returned to practice, all right, so maybe he'll play. James Conner, he's been banged up. We'll see if he he expects to play against Miami. We'll see if Snell gets the whatever. That'll be on Monday night. That would be ironic. Of course, wouldn't it be ironic if I lose in an ironic fashion to my former running back? It's what I deserve. Madison once again the backup running back who's not even going to play. I mean, did he read something about? Did he go to a tarot card reader that said that that Dalvin Cook's going to go down this week? Is he actually reading Tarot Card Weekly to give him predictions about who's going to go? Because that will be amazing if Dalvin Cook actually goes down this week and Madison plays. I mean, I'll just have to go, wow, he's got some kind of crystal ball there. Kittle's questionable. Kamara's questionable. Fairbairn, I mean, he's one of his better players in New Orleans. Come on. Look, I've said this many times. The 1603ers have a history of losing games like this to teams that they should not even have to play. So it's possible, and I'm going to pick the Zamunda Lions because that's what I do. I always pick my opponent. But really, anyone does anybody want to go for the Zamunda Lions? Want to join me in picking the Zamunda Lions? Non-ironically,
No.
No.
you don't think that Madison's going to do it?
Madison is the backup. First of all, I've had Madison for the last 5 weeks. I finally said enough, and he's snarfed into the cryo chamber. Madison is not going to sniff the football.
I think this
He's
is.
Certainly don't
faking
play
a
him in a
Dalvin Cook
competitive
injury.
fashion. I don't know. That's not your starter. You stash him away on the bench and play a real player.
What happened to Lazard? Is he still around? Or did he drop
No,
him?
he got rid of Lazard. He dropped him out of the cryo chamber.
Yeah, he picked up Crowder. That's a fantastic move there. Oh my god. Still got Gronk though. I think there's gonna be I think the Zamunda Lions, if he could play this lineup in 4 years, I think this is gonna be a fantastic team. I think the 2024 Zamunda Lions, if he could get these guys back in a full redraft league, I think that he's gonna be fantastic. Definitely. All right. Who else do? All right. Well, that's enough. Fine. So no, only I am picking the Zamunda Lions, and I do that in quotes. All right. Moving on. Where should we go next?
Let's go right down the list. Let's go to one of the teams which is going to be eliminated from the playoffs by their fellow Three Musketeer brethren. Dave's, no secret, he's been crushed, and Nick and Jamie's garbage barge. Do or die. Winner take all.
This is an exciting
Winner
game.
take the dumpster.
What an exciting game at the bottom. I mean, we're talking about front running for the tray right here after this one. Whew.
Who would have thought that Eugene would be in such a meaningful game this early in the season?
I know. Meaningful for the tray. I mean to go from championship to tray. Woo!
Wait. We're not even in the postseason yet. This is halfway through the season Trey preview. Loser of this game is, according to our statistics, eliminated from playoff contention. Not mathematically, but according to our model, the 7th loss, 6-7, doesn't get you in our league. It might, but it's very unlikely.
Right.
So this is it. Both teams are on the brink.
So who goes into that great unknown into the darkness?
So here we go.
Well, go for it.
He's going with Godwin finally. For Godwin's sake, he's going with his own.
And Evans.
Both. I'm sorry. He's bringing out the big guns.
He wants to turn it around. He's ready to make a run.
Is it too late?
Oh wait, have they given up on Carson Wentz finally, or is he injured? No, he's fine.
They just gave up on him.
They just don't like the matchup, but they like the matchup for the receiver getting blanketed. They want to take away the possibility of twofers and just play the wide receiver.
Well, first of all, he's playing Godwin and Evans both, which is what we've said forever. It took a Thielen injury to make him do it. He might, but he's ready to go on a run. Tannehill, I think that's a good play. I actually picked him up and then dropped him in favor. I mean, like, had we not done the drop swap, I would have been starting Tannehill. I think it's a good play. I think he's playing against Tampa Bay. I think that he's been way better than Mariota. I think that's a smart move.
Ironically, the $64 man Hawkinson is playing for Dave's Secret Crush.
Oh man!
Well,
the original $4 man.
I mean, the projection is 132 to 118 in favor of Dave's Secret Crush. I think that Dave's Secret Crush wins this. I mean, look, you got Henry going against Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay can't play against receivers for anything, but they can play against running backs, and they're going to shut down Henry. I'm not sure about Mac against Denver. He might have an okay game, but I mean, Carson's playing in Atlanta. Jacobs at Houston. I mean, he has an advantage there. I mean, what did Galladay and Jeffrey get last week? Oh, they were atrocious. I think Godwin and Sutton. Has he done anything?
Sutton's actually been pretty.
He's been pretty good. Yeah, all right. I think Cortland Sutton. Yeah. I think Cortland Sutton does fine. Hawkinson against Delaney Walker. I mean, the question there: does anybody get a point at tight end? The over/under on tight end points. Who's taking
Walker
the over?
Didn't even play last week, and Nick and Jamie were asleep at the wheel.
I know. So So my question is: over/under on tight end points. It's set at 1. Who's taking the over?
No,
Total combined tight end points in this game. Is anybody taking the over?
What's the over? 5?
No, 1. 1.
1 point.
Is there any tight end points scored in this game? Anyone?
Well, not by Walker. I think he's not even playing. So,
okay.
Okay. No, I'll have to go the under with the 1.
I'm going to take the over. I think that Hawkinson gets a catch. But it's tough.
A catch for negative yards.
I mean, it's tough. I don't know. I'm not confident. I mean, this is why you set, like that. Maybe I should be a bookie. T.Y. Hilton versus Mike Evans. I mean, T.Y. Hilton is good, but so is the Mike Evans / Godwin combo meal right there.
The defenses are excellent this week.
Yeah, Minnesota against Washington and Pittsburgh versus Miami. Whew, that's where all the points are going to come from in this game. I think that the garbage barge might have a hole in it, as I think Eugene finally kicks the ship when it's down. I'm picking Eugene. I think Dave Secret Crush finally gets their second win.
I agree.
I think that Eugene this week finds a new way to lose. I mean, we saw that with Dr. Hockey last And don't underestimate Eugene's will to find a way to lose. I'm picking Nick and Jamie.
I don't. I honestly can't fault your reasoning. Honestly, yes. I might have to change. I think yes. I might have to change. Well, I'm not gonna fully change it, but I 100% support your prediction there.
Yep. Mark my words. Eugene finds a new way to lose this week. One the league has never seen before. This man has proven to be determined to find a new way to lose every single week. Last week he surprised us. It was a lock against Dr. Hockey, and he gave it up.
On Monday night.
Who gets beat by a stud performance by the defense?
I don't know. Is anybody playing on Thursday? I feel like. I mean, that would be ironic if Cousins has the only points for his entire week. If all of his points are on Thursday between the defense and Cousins, and then he just stops after that, that would be an ironic. I can't wait to see the. I think you're right. I can't wait to see the result of this one. All right. All right. So moving on to the next game. There's 3 good games. I mean, there's one that I really would like to save for last because I think it's really interesting. But where would you like to go next?
Let's see here. You'd like to save one for last. I don't know. Let's go to. Are you talking about the monkeys and?
Yeah, I think that's.
All right, let's go to Lightning Rods and Hackstown's Finest.
All right. So, I mean, this is a good matchup. I think that you benefit from the. So right now the projection is 133 to 110 in favor of Hackettstown Finest. I think we could go into the intricacies of everything, but the fact that Elliott is on a bye this week is going to give you this win. I think that this is a. I mean, you could break down everything about this game all you want. Go inside the matchups. Bottom line, Elliott's not playing this week. Hackettstown's Finest takes it because of that. It would be a much more competitive game if it was a full roster, but that bye just. I don't even know. Does he even have anybody to put in there? Tariq Cohen, I guess.
You can do me a huge favor here and bump this guy down, man. That'd be nice.
I think he's gonna.
Yeah. I mean, it really comes down to that, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have definitely been very worried if Elliott was playing this week. I think Diggs has a good matchup. Woods has a great matchup. Wilson has a good matchup. I mean, I'm still a little bit concerned because of his matchups.
Yeah, but he's not gonna. I mean, what is he gonna play Tariq Cohen?
Very good. No, I'm not concerned about that. But like all his other players have excellent matchups.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously you have to play, and you do have some not great matchup. I mean, Chubb's playing New England. I mean, you have okay. I mean, Rodgers playing at Kansas City. Hopkins versus Oakland, that's good.
Yeah.
Gurley versus Cincinnati, yes, please.
Right.
We'll see.
John Brown and Gurley second. It's pretty good too.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how Kelsey does. I actually don't think that he might be hurt as much as some of the rest of the players because I oftentimes think that tight ends do well when a backup quarterback comes in, and I think that he has actually not been performing. I think Kelsey will ironically do better with the backup in there.
Really?
I do. I just think
he has been disappointing this year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then the Chicago defense against the Rams defense. I mean, you know, I just think there's fantastic matchups up and down, but the fact that Elliott is not playing this week is what's gonna make the difference. I mean, it's a terrible time to have this bye.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'm picking the Hackettstown's finest. I don't think that I might go in the other direction if that wasn't the case, but but there's no need to. Mike Leon, there's no need.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah, I agree.
Anybody picking the Lightning Rods this week?
I cannot. I need to pick Manny. He's my rival.
It doesn't matter. You're supposed to be quote-unquote objective. It's not what you want to happen. It's what you think will happen.
I objectively want him to lose. I strenuously object to him winning.
Oh, you strenuously object? Is that how it works? Oh, I strenuously object. Okay, and go enjoy yourself at the Rocco Clubo School for Women.
Well, I think for you guys, it's better if I win, right? Because then you have a higher chance of getting like a 2 seed.
No, Mr. Ego. No. What are you talking about? If I had to have my rooting interest, Booger, I would prefer to have the Lightning Rods win this game. Obviously, and then have me crush the Lions, and then I'm ahead of you and in first place if the Whalers would lose. I don't know if he's going to, but if he would, then I find myself in first place and leapfrogging you.
I don't know. In my eyes, you're all competing for second.
Oh.
I know. This is what I'm saying.
You'd rather have me win the trophy, right? Because it's cluttering up your desk far back.
Yes.
All right. Booger wants to move on to the next game.
Okay. Let's move on. It's the Mighty Whalers versus Tillit-Trey. So the projection in this one, interestingly enough, is in favor of Tillit-Trey, 125 to 110 in favor of Tillit. Why is that?
Because the league MVP Tucker's on a bye.
That's why. Interesting. Yes. And he doesn't have any room. What is he going to do? Is he going to have to drop himself some Tucker?
Well, Yahoo really has no faith in Melvin Gordon. Yahoo loves themselves some Eckler.
Yes, 6.3 for Melvin Gordon. I mean, he got 8.9. Yeah. He got 8.9 even in that game where he fumbled it. But granted, he's playing against Chicago. Freeman, oof. But Tillit-Trey also has a problem. They have David Johnson. He was, still has an ankle and back problem and is not practicing on Wednesday. And does he have a backup running back? I mean, it's Frank Gore. McLaurin has been terrible lately. I think, I mean... Oof.
Julio got Seattle.
I mean, Chark is good. Julio Jones is good. Tom Brady has obviously been good. Fournette has been good. I don't think that he has the arm. David Johnson's not going to get that point. Everett actually surprisingly has been good. He needs to fix that flex. With who I don't know. He's still holding on to Antonio Brown. He's not playing, dude. Get rid of him. Herndon has been at least bumped up to questionable to play. I guess Frank Gore goes in there probably to play against Philadelphia. The ageless wonder. What did Frank Gore do last week? 7.6 against Miami, and now he's playing Philadelphia. Okay. Oof. I mean, Whalers are playing Robinson. Royce Freeman. I think the Whalers takes this game. I'm just looking at this. I think the Whalers takes this.
I would have to agree.
Yeah, okay. I can see it because McLaurin has been pretty spotty at best.
And now
Julio Jones, Matt Ryan.
And he's doing the cardinal sin of leaving him in the flex on the Thursday night game,
yes,
which will reduce his options even further.
Yes.
I think the Whalers receivers will do all excellent. Lockett against Atlanta, Thomas against Arizona, and Robinson against Chargers. He's actually been quietly decent.
Yeah, I know. I'm picking the Whalers. I think the Whalers, recovers nicely from their last week loss, and this could be. I mean, this is a huge game for definitely for Tilt if they could win this. They get back in the swing. I mean, they lost that last week's game by 1 point. If they could win this, I mean, but if they lose, they lost the last one by 1 point, and they lose another one. They might find themselves out of the playoffs because I think that if we move to our last game of the week, I think that one of these two is definitely going to make the playoffs. I think these two teams. I think the winner of this game will make the playoffs and perhaps replace maybe Tillett, maybe the Hagglers.
Our back is cracking himself up tonight.
I know.
That $74 he spent is drove him insane.
I would hope the Whalers finds himself a kicker and puts the love affair with Justin Tucker on hold.
I mean, would people go and pick up Tucker? Look, I like getting my points on the sly. I'm not going after Tucker. I mean, I don't even know would be. I don't know who could tell with the insane Arkham the Arkham Asylum mentality of the coaches in this league. I have no idea. I have no idea what anybody would do. All right. So right now the projection is 130 to 95. Of course, the Panthers don't have a wide receiver 2 in there, so that skews it. Ingram is on a bye, but you know what? He picked himself up. A decent running back. You might have heard of him, and his name is Le'Veon Bell. Does he even have enough? I mean, first of all, he's got to take Peyton Barber out of there. Because, his running back... I mean, you want to talk about running back cores. So you got Sony Michel, Latavius Murray, and now Le'Veon Bell going against Dalvin Cook, James White, and Saquon Barkley. I mean, look at these running back cores. And then look at the receivers. You had Marvin Jones getting 40 points last week. You have Cooper Kupp, who has not been that great since he's come to Wakanda, but, Cooper Kupp was fantastic. I don't know. So you got Smith-Schuster playing over there in Memphis. Does Hockey have... He does not. He doesn't... Drop one of your thousands of quarterbacks. He's got Fitzpatrick riding the pine while he's playing Trubisky. Go get yourself a wide receiver. So, Do you plan on playing Fitzpatrick at wide receiver too? Ugh. And then, of course, he's got the New England defense just waiting to beat down some points there.
Wakanda, he keeps the trashiest quarterbacks, too.
I know. What are you holding on to?
Trubisky, Fitzpatrick, and Dalton. Seriously?
I know. Go out and get some wide receivers.
Oh, my God. I only have one quarterback on my roster. And if he drops all of those guys, I'm not picking any of them up.
No.
They're all trash.
Who is? What? I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Riddler down the road is doing it, but I don't know anybody. I would not pick up one of them. Not one.
Not one of them. No.
You're holding on to the Miami. I know it's Fitzmagic, but you're holding on to the Miami quarterback. Come on, man. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta go with. And yet the Monkeys, they still had Jameis Winston sitting there. It's a tough matchup, but so does Trubisky, kind of.
That running back core is dangerous.
All of them are. Both of them are. I honestly think that look, just because of record, I think one of these teams really finds themselves behind the 8 ball. The one that loses this one does. I think that the team that wins this game, I think that you're going to see them in the playoffs. And they're going to be a very dangerous playoff team, too.
Yeah, I agree.
So which one is it? Who wins this game?
I'd have to go with the Monkeys, but I think the Monkeys are a very dangerous team. I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs.
No, I would not either. I mean, of course, you've already penciled yourself into the bye, so I guess you won't have to see them until later. But maybe second round though, since you're predicting you're going to be first place already, and he might sneak into
Hopefully
the 6th seed.
Hopefully he's a 3 or a 6 seed.
What?
Hopefully he's a 3 or a 6 seed.
No, because if you're projecting yourself in first place, and he's the 6th seed, then that means you play him in the second round in your first playoff game.
Well, let me see how the bracket works.
There's no bracket. It gets reseeded each round.
Oh, okay.
So first place plays the lowest seeded player left.
Okay. All right.
And of course, you've already penciled yourself into first place, so we're not even considering the possibility that you might have to play him like in a wild card matchup. I mean, you've already.
No,
that's not. You're not even thinking about
it.
No. You're already planning for the semifinals. You already have the ticket sold for the semifinals game. Nobody knows who's going to be playing. Nobody can go pick out the jerseys of the players that they want to wear at that game. But the tickets for that game are already sold.
Yeah, I'm looking at the team schedules for like week 14, 15, 16.
Yeah, I know. I mean, why? I mean, obviously, start looking at that stuff. Why focus on the next 5 weeks?
Yeah, maybe I'll keep the trash talking to cool it down a little bit. I'm a little bit worried about injuries, so I don't want my guys to get hurt.
I mean, but I mean, when you have such a dominant hold on the league, why would you, why? Injuries happen to mortals. You're not a mortal.
Okay.
All right, so yes, I'm going with the Monkeys as well. Geese.
Great.
I'd have to go with the Monkeys. I like their running back core once again. I think that's enough to win them a lot of games just from those guys. I think that's pretty solid.
All right.
Barb, Olsen, they don't scare you. Trubisky certainly doesn't scare you. The New England defense, though, they're kind of, I have to go with the Monkeys.
Yeah. But let's see if the New England defense can pull it out for them. But I really honestly do think whoever wins this game is going to end up in the playoffs. And I think that if the injuries had not happened to Wakanda, and maybe if the Monkeys had gotten off to a non-millennial start, they both would be in the playoffs. But at this point, because of record, I think that only one of the two is going to make it, and it's the winner of this game. All right. So that leaves us with, who do you think the lock of the week is?
You over Zamunda, of course.
Absolutely.
I can't do it. I mean, I refuse. I mean, no, I will not. I will not succumb to such temptations. In fact, he's the favorite. He's the favorite. He's that. Picking me would be your upset of the week. Who do I think the lock of the week is? I think that the lock of the week is Hackathon's Finest over the Lightning Rods because of that Ezekiel Elliott situation.
That's over Zamunda. I can't do that.
I understand I understand. I mean, I would almost make my my lock Dave's Secret Crush over Nick and Jamie, but your ironic comment changed my mind, Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
So I guess your upset of the week would be Nick and Jamie versus Dave's Secret Crush, right?
That would be an upset, yes.
I think the closest game of the week will be the Blues and the Hagglers.
Yes.
I think it will be low scoring, but close.
That'll be a low scoring, ball control game.
Yeah, and I think that the matchup of the week, the one to watch, is definitely the Monkeys versus Wakanda. They would be the flex game because there's so much riding on the line in that one more than anything else. Unless you want to consider the trade game that's happening over at the other end. But in the non-pretend, in the contender bracket, I think that the Monkeys versus the Panthers is the matchup of the week.
Someone who's a big fan of Dave's Secret Crush is our guest coach this week, Whalers. If you're looking for a very interesting interview, you should listen to the Coach's Spotlight this week.
Well, they already did. It already aired right before
yes.
Yeah, I know. So
yes. Tune into that.
Yeah. Make sure you didn't skip. If you skipped it, go back.
Right.
I'm sure that was an hour 2 of your. This one went long. Whew, we're already burning the morning oil. All right. So we could start closing up for now. Some of us have to pack for our camping wedding adventure. All right. So first of all, I'd like to thank the Whalers for joining us on the program. It was good to hear from you. I thought it was one of our better interviews of the year. Definitely, it was certainly very entertaining. Yeah, good luck to everybody this week. I don't know. Say your goodbyes, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Have a good week, guys.
Party this week, and good luck, everyone.
Good luck.
All right, we'll see you next week, everybody. Bye.
Yep.